Pokémon, the story of Yu. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 126, Signs of Memory Recovery. At the same time, in the basement of the Ether Foundation, Lily, who was teleported by Mutuo, looked at the unfamiliar environment around her, but unexpectedly felt a sense of familiarity. It seemed like she had been here when she was a child. Lily, what's wrong? Xiaoxu carefully noticed that something was wrong with Lily and said worriedly, I don't know. This is a place that is heavily guarded by the Ether Foundation. I should have never been here, but why do I feel like I have been here before? Lily frowned. She vaguely felt that there was a reason why she didn't dare to touch Pokémon again. I've been here before. Xiaoxu looked at Lily with some concern and said, if it's inconvenient, let's go. No, I want to stay here. I want to be like you and Yu. I want to touch Pokémon. Lily gritted her teeth and insisted. She wanted to know the reason. Okay, I'll accompany you. Xiaoxu reached out and held Lily's hand, indicating that she was still here. Xiaoxu's Vulpix called cutely, came out of Xiaoxu's arms, ran into Lily's arms, and warmed Lily with warm fur, indicating that everyone was here. With the support of Xiaoxu and Vulpix, Lily relaxed a little and walked forward. She felt that it was here. In the laboratory on the upper floor, a middle-aged doctor wearing glasses sensed the changes below and frowned. He turned on the monitor screen, and the images of Xiaoxu, Lily, and Mutuo immediately appeared in front of him. Miss Lily, why is she here? And she dared to touch the Pokémon. The middle-aged doctor was shocked, and quickly took out 2 Pokéballs. A red light flashed, and 1 Alakazam, and 1 Saliba appeared. Alakazam, teleport. The middle-aged doctor said. The spoon in Alakazam's hand emitted a blue light, and he, Saliba, and the middle-aged doctor disappeared instantly. When they appeared again, they were in the center of the basement. In the basement, Mutuo's expression turned fierce, and he looked to the side sharply. The fluctuations of superpowers could not escape its perception. It's inside. Lily came in by feeling and walked inside. As soon as she entered, she felt a superpower coming towards her. Mutuo's eyes were extremely sharp, with a hint of anger. Using superpowers in front of it, did it think it was dead? With a snort, he destroyed the energy completely, and floated in with Lily and Xiaoxu, and saw the middle-aged doctor and 2 Pokémon. Zaobo? Why are you here? Lily asked in confusion. Zaobo is one of the 3 great doctors of the Ether Foundation. Along with Dr. Barnett and Pico, he is the right-hand man of Chairman Lusamine. Naturally, he is also someone Lily is familiar with, but since he is here, then the superpower just now is his Pokémon? Miss Lily, is it you? I thought it was someone else. Fortunately, no harm was caused. Why are you here? Zaobo pretended to be puzzled. I feel that there may be a reason why I dare not touch Pokémon here. I want to come here to take a good look. Lily said. But Miss Lily, you are not allowed to enter here. It should be an illusion. Zaobo said. Lily looked around and tried to recall. She vaguely felt that she had caught something, and her expression was rich. Zaobo's heartbeat accelerated unconsciously. After a long time, Lily still couldn't remember anything, and said, I can't remember. Let's talk about it later. Zaobo, go and inform mother. Father, he is not dead. Not dead. Zaobo was stunned. How could he not be dead? He saw with his own eyes that Dr. Moon was absorbed by the ultimate hole. Yes, he is not dead. Sofu, the king of Bonnie Island, told me that if you don't see him in the thick fog of Kapu Finfin, then he is not dead. I didn't see my father in the fog, so my father is not dead. Lily said excitedly. So Dr. Moon is not dead. That's great. I will tell this news to the chairman. Zaobo said with joy. When he first entered the Ether Foundation, he followed Moon. He was Moon's assistant and studied with Moon. Moon was half of his teacher. His idea of making attribute space also came from Moon. Well, tell mother quickly. Lily looked at Zaobo's heartfelt happiness, and her joy became even greater. Emotions have always been very strange things. Sad emotions can be alleviated by talking, and emotions can be soothed by constant sharing. And happy emotions, after sharing, will not only not be diluted, but will become more intense. Just like now. Mewtwo looked at Zaobo strangely. As a superpowered Pokémon, it can keenly distinguish the authenticity of a person's emotions. The emotions just now were not false. But why do I feel disgusted when I look at this human? Are humans really as black and white as you said? Mewtwo didn't understand, but didn't think about it any further. After a while, everyone went up together. However, after going up, they learned that Lusamine took Pico, Barnet and others to Pony Island to find Lily. After another phone call and a lot of fuss, Lusamine and Lily met as mother and daughter, hugged and cried. At this time, Yu just came back from Pony Island on Dragonite. Seeing the mother and daughter hugging and crying, he understood their feelings, and then quietly shrank aside. It was just that she came down on Dragonite. Such an obvious behavior could not be hidden from Lusamine. Lusamine let go of Lily's hand, wiped her tears, looked at Yu gratefully and said, Yu, thank you. Not only did you take good care of Lilia in Kanto, giving her the courage to successfully touch Pokémon again, but you also helped us to understand such an important truth. No, as Lilia's friend, these are what I should do, and Lilia has helped me a lot. Yu said. I'm really relieved that Lilia has a friend like you. Lusamine said. Drive Moon's research on the ultimate cave mysteriously disappeared, but it is still here, so as long as we look for it, we will definitely find it. There are also many people in our family who can help. Yu smiled and changed the subject. If you don't agree to such compliments, you will seem unconfident. If you agree, you will seem too shameless, so you can only change the subject. Yes, thank you then. Lusamine did not refuse. She was clear about the capabilities of the Kyojin family and the Sasaki family, especially the Sasaki family, which had developed business and a lot of intelligence. It's all due. Just consider it as the rent for me to live in Lilia's house. Yu said. How can it be considered as rent if you come to live in our house? The last time I met your mother, I was planning to arrange a baby marriage for you and Lily. Lusamine said. Ah. Yu was stunned. How come I didn't know about this? Mother? Lilia's face also blushed. How come I didn't know about this? Why are you so shy? It's all sooner or later. Lusamine said very carelessly. Mother, you and I are just friends, and I'm still in school. Lily shouted. What's wrong with going to school? Can't you fall in love when you go to school? Lusamine said seriously, but you are too young, and you are still my baby, so we are just planning. Not true. Mother, I'm not a baby. Lily continued to refute. Yu retreated silently to the side, wisely not getting involved in the fight between the mother and daughter. Chapter 127 Recovering Memory. What's wrong? Are you still angry with Aunt Lusamine? Yu smiled at the depressed Lily. Really, mother, you've treated me like a child since I was a child, and you don't care about my opinion in everything you do. Like Pixar, I played best with it when I was a child. I didn't want it to evolve into Pixar, but mother still evolved it without considering my thoughts at all. She just thought I was a baby. Lily angrily told Yu about all the injustices Lusamine had done to her. Yu smiled the whole time and said nothing. Whoever got involved in this kind of mother-daughter affair would be in trouble. Just listen to it, and if you take it seriously, you will really lose. No, you might even die. It's better to plan the battle plan for Pokémon. With Lunala's gold medal arrow, I can also play it well. Use the 4 island guardians. First find Tapu Chime, and let it teach Raichu to use the electric field. Learning this trick can greatly improve Raichu's combat ability. In addition, the time for the Quartz conference was tight before, so I did some simple running training for Raichu. Now that the basics are almost there, it's time to start high voltage training. Run with the Volt Attack. With the terrifying electric current of Raichu, a Volt Attack is probably not something that can withstand it except for the special meat shield. There is also an electric grid to be arranged. In the animation, Pikachu's electric grid is simply amazing. It can bind opponents, protect itself, and can also be used as a trampoline. Raichu has never woven a net, so he follows Pikachu's training method, first practicing electric balls, then practicing electric grids. If he learns the electric field, few people below the king will be Raichu's opponent. It would be even better if Raichu's characteristics could be changed to Surf Tail, doubling the speed. Yu plans to talk to Lunala about this issue. Characteristics are just a kind of genetic talent of the body, which can be changed. Like super evolution, isn't it just getting the power of Arceus, and then changing the attributes and characteristics together? There are also two places, Alola and Galar, which are even more excessive. Under the magnetic field mutation, the genes of organisms are forever changed. However, at that time, Giratina was negotiating, and Yu had no chance to interrupt. He left it aside for the time being. When he called Xiaozi over, he would talk to Lunala again. In addition, the training of Dragonite still is necessary. The weight-bearing training tools ordered from Silver Company will also arrive soon. At that time, all Pokémon will wear them, and train day and night, to have sufficient physical strength. Lily was madly complaining about her mother. While complaining, she suddenly found that Yu was absent-minded. She looked at Yu angrily like a squirrel. Yu raised his head and looked at Lily's bulging cheeks like a squirrel. He couldn't help but laugh and stretched out his hand to press Lily's face. Lily was really angry this time. I complained to you, but you were absent-minded. I punched her with my pink fists. Yu held his head to defend himself and begged for mercy repeatedly, but he just laughed and didn't have any sincerity. It was really seeing this. If I didn't do it, I would be sorry for myself. If I get beaten, I will be beaten. It doesn't matter, Lilia can't hurt him anyway. After a while of fussing, Lilia let Yu go. Yu looked at Lilia and said, let's talk business. Have you agreed with Aunt Lucamine about the Pokémon? Not yet. Lilia looked disappointed and looked at Yu and said, Yu, do you know? I just went to the basement of the Ether Foundation. I felt that there was a reason why I couldn't touch Pokémon, but I studied it for a long time and still didn't find it. It's nearby. Yu's mind moved. Did he finally remember it? With a serious face, he said, then, what did you see? I saw Zaobo, and then I looked for a long time, but couldn't remember it, so I came up. Lilia said distressedly. Then have you ever thought about why Zaobo was there? Yu guided. It was Zaobo who made you like this. He is a doctor of the Ether Foundation. It's not normal for him to be there. Lilia said as a matter of course. It's not normal. He teleported here. Mewtwo's voice sounded on the side. I teleported here. Lily looked surprised, but even so, is it related to him that I can't touch Pokémon? It should be, but if you want to know the specific reason, just ask. Yu said. Ask? How to ask? If it's related to him, he won't tell the truth. Lily said. Naive child. It's very difficult to lie in front of superpowers. Yu looked at Mewtwo. Mewtwo also looked at Yu. Why should I help you? Help you? Not for me, but for Lilia's cuteness. I'll buy you some more books. Yu said. Mewtwo looked at Yu for a while, as if thinking, then closed his eyes. Superpowers surged, and he disappeared completely. When he appeared again, there was a Zaobo beside him. And his expression was dull, his eyes were numb and lifeless, just like a puppet. Zaobo, is he controlled? Lily said. That's right, as long as the superpower system is strong enough, they can do whatever they want. Be careful when you meet them in the future. Yu said. In the Kalos region, several Squid Kings can control Miss Junsha, not to mention Mewtwo. Lilia nodded, then looked at Zaobo and said, Zaobo, I can't touch Pokémon. Does it have anything to do with you? Zaobo didn't answer blankly. It's useless to ask. Mewtwo. Yu looked at Mewtwo, and Mewtwo looked at Zaobo again. Zaobo nodded and said blankly, it's the master. A few years ago, when I was studying Ultra Beasts, I opened the Ultra Cave, and an Ultra Beast came out of the Ultra Cave. At that time, Miss Lilia happened to come here unexpectedly. After that, the young Miss Lilia was caught by the Ultra Beast, and then she was traumatized and became afraid to touch Pokémon again. Because of extreme fear, she forgot this memory. I concealed this matter, so I was not punished. Is this how I lost my memory? Lilia closed her eyes tightly, and some seemingly true and false pictures came out, but she just couldn't complete the complete puzzle. Seeing this, Yu roughly guessed Lilia's situation. and looked at Zaobo on the side and said, "Is the machine that opened the ultimate hole still there?" "Yes. But it can no longer open the ultimate hole. After all, its main energy was used by me to create the attribute void. It's just because it's my masterpiece, so I still keep it," Zaobo said. "Okay, take us there." Yu gave an order to Zaobo and then looked at Lily and said, "Let's go, find your lost memories, and get back your original abilities." Lily nodded. She obviously liked Pokémon very much, but her body couldn't touch it. She didn't want to feel this way. Zaobo took Yu and the others to a closed room, and a dilapidated machine appeared in front of everyone. "Zaobo, open it and try it," Yu said. Zaobo immediately started the machine. The machine roared, as if it was about to break down, but there was still a strong force bursting out, and the wonderful ultimate magnetic field was disordered. Feeling this familiar scene, Lily's body shook, and many memories in her mind were like being turned on, and she recalled them all at once. Yuyu's mouth curled up slightly. Lily's problem was solved. Chapter 128, Inviting Zyossi. "Young man, are you willing to save the world?" In the Orange Islands, at the Pokémon Center, Zyossi looked at the mysterious Yuyu on the screen, and countless question marks appeared in his head. Is this Yuyu the real Yuyu? Is he not impersonated by someone? He is so mysterious all of a sudden. Yuyu, did you make the wrong call? You asked Zyossi to save the world. Zyossi was also surprised. Ask Zyossi to save the world? It would be better to ask Pikachu to save the world. That's right, listen to me. Yuyu recounted everything about Alala. So, you want me to go to Alala, take Solgalea Z Pure Crystal, and absorb the power? Zyossi said. That's right. Yuyu said. I'm willing to help with this. But what if Solgalea doesn't recognize me? Zyossi said a little worriedly. Don't recognize you? Yuyu raised his eyebrows. It is normal for others to worry about this. After all, it is very difficult to get the recognition of the mythical beast. But you? It's not that the mythical beasts don't recognize you, but the mythical beasts you don't recognize are not easy to mix in the mythical beast circle. Don't worry about this. Come on. Come to Alala. Come here to save the world. Yuyu said. Okay, then I'll go there now. Zyossi said. Although I want to challenge the Orange League and win the champion of the Winners' Cup. But compared with the world, this seems much easier. Take the Z Pure Crystal, come back, and continue to challenge. No problem, I will buy plane tickets for you, Zyossi and Zaya gang. The scenery here is charming, and there is a different kind of happiness that you can't imagine. Yuyu said. Alala, a legendary famous tourist destination. Can I go too? Zyossi said excitedly. Of course, you and Zyossi are companions. Come together. Zyossi alone. I'm afraid something will happen. Yuyu said. Thank you, Yuyu. You are really a good person. Zyossi said excitedly. Going to Alala Island for free, and it's a place full of sea, sunshine, beach, waves. Are a perfect place. Alala, wait for the most beautiful mermaid in the world to come. What do you mean? I'll get into trouble if I'm alone. Zyossi muttered in dissatisfaction. Have you ever tried traveling alone since you came out? Yuyu asked back. Zyossi was speechless, and after a while he reacted and said, Zyada gang went to accompany Professor Nemu, and he is not with us now. The one traveling with us now is Zyogien. Hello. Next to Zyossi, a gentle voice squeezed into the screen and said, oh, it's a change. It's okay, let's go together. Yuyu said. Zyogien, I also have some impression of him. Zyos's travel companion in the Orange Islands, and Professor Oak's special assistant in the future. He is also a good person. Come on. Anyway, the money for 1 or 2 plane tickets is nothing to Yuyu. 1 more or 1 less, it's the same. Thank you. I heard that there are many Pokémon here in Alala that are different from those here. Zyogien said excitedly. Yes, there are regional forms unique to Alala here, which are different from other regions. For example, Raichu has dual attributes of thunder and psychic attributes. Yuyu said. Raichu has different attributes. Zyossi suddenly became excited again, and Pikachu's eyes suddenly lit up. Yes, I'm in Alala. Welcome you. In addition, Zyossi, why don't you come here to study? Yu said, anyway, your classmates are here now. You come here to study. Maybe you can win the championship in advance. No need, I still like traveling. Zyozhi said. Besides, Zyozhi is not the kind of person who is suitable for school. Zyuksha said on the side. Pikachu nodded vigorously. Zyozhi looked at Zyuksha with a sour face. Although this is the truth, it is very sad to say it. Okay, I'll wait for you here, bye. Yu hung up the phone, then took out the computer, and continued to write the training plan for Pokémon and the unique tactics suitable for them. Haunter, there is no good adjustment. If it can evolve, it will go further. If it can't evolve, there is nothing you can do. The strength has reached a bottleneck, and you can only grind it slowly. However, there are some problems with your mentality recently, and the training is a bit careless. Take it to bully noobs, bully it too much, let it think it is almost invincible. But without my blessing, it is only at the level of acquire seeking. It is a king together with me, but it can't last long and needs constant blessing. Find a way to weaken it. Go to Kapu Butterfly on Akara Island, or Tapu Koko. It is the guardian of the island, and it is not a problem to bully it. Pride and complacency will cause trouble. Dragonite, train the tail, learn a dragon tail or iron tail, and speed up. The rest, Absol, play dual attack, first class speed, excellent special attack, close combat ability is not bad. After 3 months, it can basically be acquire seeking. Raichu sent Tapu Koko to study, and Flamahorse tried hard to learn explosive flame shock. Although there are side effects, it is powerful enough. If used well, it can kill with one blow. Yu wrote a training plan, matched the special moves, deleted and subtracted, and several hours passed unknowingly. A water cup was handed over. Yu picked it up, and took a sip. It was colorless and tasteless, just plain water. He immediately looked at Zyuzu and said, why are you giving me water? Shouldn't you give me a cup of coffee? After drinking coffee, you don't have to sleep. After drinking water, get ready for bed. Zyuzu said. Isn't it just a little bit short? Yu said. Just a little bit, countless little bits, and you can go to bed in the early morning. Sleep well, otherwise you won't grow taller. Zyuzu said. You're not taller than me. Yu immediately stood up, straightened his chest, and raised his head, and his forehead was slightly higher than Zyuzu's. I can wear high heels, can you? Zyuzu said. Then I can still grow, right? And I can wear insoles to increase my height. Yu said. If you don't sleep again, it might affect your growth. Zyuzu said. Yu rolled his eyes, and under Zyuzu's resolute gaze, he closed his laptop and said, your strict discipline is really stricter than my mother's. Isn't it because your aunt lets you go, and doesn't bother to care? Zyuzu said casually. Don't say it, if you see it. Yu said. Other people's parents are caring in every way, but my own parents, alas they didn't even show up when I won the Quartz Conference Championship. Zyuzu pursed her lips and smiled secretly. Yu packed up his things and prepared to go to bed reluctantly, but just as he was about to go in, he suddenly saw Haunter floating from the sky, looking at Yu with an angry face and said, I want to become stronger, train hard, and double the training. Yu and Zyuzu looked at each other at the same time, and they saw full of doubts in each other's eyes. Although it was late at night, I hadn't fallen asleep yet, so why did I dream? If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 129, Frustrated Haunter. What's wrong? What's up? Tell us. Let's be happy. Yu looked at Haunter, trying to act as if nothing had happened, but his eyes were full of gossip. I told you to pick up girls online every day and mock me every day. I was beaten. Haunter said indignantly. Oh, and then? Yu nodded, and continued to look forward to the next plot. He could see it without Haunter saying it. Haunter's condition was a little wrong, but it was nothing serious. So this was not the focus of Yu's attention. The point is, why were you beaten? Did you steal someone else's girlfriend? What then? Isn't that enough? I was beaten. Your Pokémon was beaten. Shouldn't you be angry? Haunter shouted. Yes, you should be angry and fight back, but you are so active in training, it doesn't seem like an ordinary beating. In this world, there are some Pokémon that are stronger than you, don't you know it very well? Yu said. But I think I'm pretty good now, and the one who beat me was a ghost type Pokémon. Haunter gritted his teeth. Oh, Yu nodded, revealing a deep affection for the ghost type love and hatred. But why did they fight? You went to tease it. At this point, Haunter, who had been indignant, rarely lowered his head and whispered, I saw a ghost type Pokémon and thought it was fun, so I went to say hello. But it was too bad tempered and started to fight all of a sudden, and I couldn't beat it. So I was beaten instead of teasing it. You deserve it. Yu said. I was beaten, and you still made sarcastic remarks. Haunter said angrily. What's wrong? I asked you to train normally, and you went to play games. Now you're beaten. Who do you blame? You still made sarcastic remarks. You. Haunter looked at Yu angrily, and then turned his head away. You big pigtooth, you really changed. You didn't let me play in the finals, and now I'm beaten, and you still make sarcastic remarks. I want to break up with you. Are you really angry? Yu looked at Ghastly. Ghastly turned his head and ignored Yu. Oh, then you can continue to be angry. I'm going to sleep first. You train yourself. Yu stood up and prepared to leave. You are not my girlfriend, and you still want me to coax you? Change your gender before coming. Ghastly was still angry with Yu, but when he heard the sound of the door opening, his expression became flustered. No, this guy really doesn't want to train me. Let me train myself. What a joke. I can train myself. Why do I need you? And there are so many special moves to cooperate. Let me check the computer and study. Go to hell. I still have to play games online. At this moment, Ghastly turned from Rain to Sunny, floated to Yu, and said, design a targeted training plan for me. I want to defeat it. My shoulders are sore, and I have no strength. Yu said without even turning his head. I'll do it. Ghastly's hands changed into human hands and gave Yu a massage. Yu's mouth corners slightly raised. You could also have this day. Yu was almost proud of himself, so he said, tell me, what kind of Pokémon defeated you? Have you seen it? Never seen it. Definitely not a Pokémon from Kanto. Ghastly said. Does it have a trainer, or is it wild? Wild. There is no trainer. What are its characteristics? If he only judged heroes by race, it would be easy for him to guess, but in fact it is not the case. Which race does not have one or two geniuses who have broken through the race value? Like Bear Mom, the first god of war in Alala, who can fly, hide, swim, and dismantle Gundams, and beat monsters with her hands. Her combat power is so strong that it is off the charts, but her race value is only 500. And there will be some trainers who die, and their race main force will leave the trainer's descendants and return to nature. There are many powerful Pokémon. Without some tips on special moves and attributes, you couldn't guess it. Yes, it has two appearances. One is the appearance in the shadow, and the other is the appearance when fighting with me. Although the overall size has not changed, the head has turned green. Ghastly said. The head turns green. Is it male or female? Yu raised his eyebrows. A Pokémon with a green head? Be serious. Haunter said dissatisfiedly. Okay, go on. I'll think about what characteristics your Pokémon has, and then I'll design a special tactic for you. Yu said. When fighting with all your strength, the head will turn green, which means it has two forms. There are not many Pokémon that can switch between two forms freely without human help. Generally, they are at the boss level. Like Giratina's normal form and Origimp form, Lunala's normal form and Full Moon form. However, the ghost type has two forms, is wild, is Alala, and can defeat Haunter. The identity of this Pokémon is about to be revealed. Also, it likes to hide in the shadows and steal my energy. Ghastly said. Hiding in the shadows is also a common operation of your ghost type. This is nothing. Let me ask you, does that Pokémon like close combat? Yu said. Very much. Ghastly said. That's right, it should be Machado. Yu said. Mathamo, this guy hit me? Gui Stone said angrily. Baby, who is respected by everyone, dreams are also lively Pokémon. Ghost Sito said loudly. After a while, I will make a special training plan for you tomorrow. Yi swept his eyes from Ghost Stone, completely unbelievable. At this time, it was guilty. But there was no care. No matter what he did, Ghost Stone was taught by Mazar Duo. It's agreed. In addition, your game time will be reduced in the future. I will double your training and let you evolve. Your current strength is not enough. You need to evolve. Yu said. Haunter's strength is more than enough to fight in the Ordinary League Conference, but it is not enough to fight in the Champion League. Evolve Jenga, challenge the champion, and then join hands with me. Maybe we can fight the champion. But Haunter's evolution to Jenga is not like in the game, where you can exchange with each other and then evolve together. If that's the case, then all the Haunters and Bravahats in the hands of all trainers will be Jenga and Alakazam. After all, the machines for connecting and exchanging can be seen everywhere, and every Pokémon Center has one, and it is free to use. It requires hard work and practice. No problem. Haunter's eyes were full of fighting spirit, and he flew out to practice ghost attribute moves under the moonlight. Ghost attributes are dark, and they can gather more at night. It's rare to see Haunter so serious. Xiaoxu looked at the ghastly passage. So getting beaten up is necessary. Yu said. You grow up after experiencing setbacks. But Haunter is a ghost Pokémon, and doesn't need to sleep. If you want to sleep, don't you have to fight the dominant Pokémon tomorrow? Xiaoxu said. Okay. Yu turned around, picked up the computer and left. Chapter 130, Encounter with Kiku. Wake up, it's a new day. Move towards a stronger goal. Yu took Xiaoxu and the Pokémon into the great forest of Melamel Island. Yu looked for strong Pokémon to fight, while Xiaoxu kept observing and recording the information of new Pokémon. And the Pokémon that injured Yu's Pokémon healed their injuries and gave Pokémon food as compensation. A real hit, a sweet date. Walking to the side, a huge 4 cm long bug suddenly jumped out of the ground with 2 thick horns and pounced on Yu and the others. But before it pounced, Absol, who had been walking in front and acting as a police dog, was the first to discover that the air blade condensed on the black hole of the sickle, and blue light shone, smashing the insect Pokémon, knocking it away, and throwing it to the side. Seeing that it didn't succeed, the insect Pokémon immediately drilled a hole to escape. Strong-jawed chicken mother insect, the illustration says that it is timid, but now it seems that it is not necessarily. Yu said as he looked at the fleeing Pokémon. Maybe we invaded its territory. All creatures have a strong sense of their own territory. Fortunately, Absol is quick to react. Xiaoxu said. Absol, who was walking in front, was delighted when he heard Xiaoxu's praise, but he was more vigilant and did not relax at all when he looked at the eyes around him. He walked forward all the way, and when he came to a place, he suddenly showed a surprised expression and called out to Yu. Did you meet Lily? Yu asked curiously. Although he didn't understand Absol's words, he could guess some of the meaning after getting along for a long time. Absol made this sound when he met a familiar person or Pokémon. And Absol didn't know any acquaintances in Alola except Lily, so it could only be Lily. Absol made a joyful cry, indicating that it was correct. Yu was slightly curious. Logically, Absol would not make a wrong judgment, but didn't Lily have class today? Could it be that she, a good student, also skipped class? Learn from me. Yu was happy and walked over curiously. Then a large group of people appeared in front of him. In addition to Lilia, there were also several classmates of Kachi and a middle-aged uncle wearing a casual hat. The Alola region doctor, Dr. Kiku. Seeing this, Yu felt a little disappointed. It turned out that he did not skip class. The teacher took them together for extracurricular teaching. Yu, Xiaoxu, why are you here too? Didn't you say you were going to collect Z pure crystals? Lilia looked at Yu and Xiaoxu in surprise. Yes, the overlord Pokémon you want to see is here, the real overlord of Alola. I'm more surprised that you came out. Yu smiled slightly and looked at Dr. Kiku and said, you are the Dr. Kiku that Lilia has been talking about, right? Hello, my name is Yu. I know, I heard Lilia say that you are the champion of the Kanto Quartz Conference. You are indeed young and promising. Your Absol is well cultivated. Dr. Kiku looked at Absol and smiled. It's just a small achievement, not as good as the professor. The professor is an opponent recognized by even the Johto champion, the Dragon Envoy do. There are not many trainers who can be recognized by him, Yu said with a smile. Professor Kiku, in his early years, went to Kanto to challenge the league, but was beaten back by Do. But his strength was recognized by Do, which proved his strength. After all, it is not a shame to lose to the champion. For example, the 4 Heavenly Kings are still masters. Professor Kiku was stunned and looked at Yu in surprise. Not many people knew about this. The professor challenged the Johto champion, the Dragon Envoy Do. Lily looked at Professor Kiku in surprise. This was the first time she knew about this. Usually, I didn't see that Professor Kiku was actually a powerful trainer. What is a champion? Is it very powerful? Lily understood the champion, but those who had never left Alala, such as Kachi, didn't know what the champion meant. The most powerful trainer in a region. Lily said. The most powerful trainer, the professor. You are so powerful? Mao looked at Professor Kiku in surprise, and suddenly found a big man beside him. These are all things of the past. I haven't fought Pokémon for a long time. Now I'm just an ordinary worker engaged in academic research. Dr. Kiku said. Ordinary? Yu raised his eyebrows slightly. Is this Versailles? Even if you are really just a regional doctor, but a regional doctor is not ordinary. Not to mention, you are also a part-time teacher at the Pokémon school and the strongest royal masked man in the Royal Dome. One person works 3 jobs. The monthly salary is also an astronomical figure for ordinary people. Okay. But Yu, I see you have a Z bracelet in your hand. Have you passed the pilgrimage of the islands? Are you interested in coming to our school? Our school has professional course training and the use of Z moves. Dr. Kiku said. Thank you for your kindness, doctor, but I still have to participate in the Champions League in 3 months. After the league, I will travel to other regions and will not stop reading for the time being. After all, I have been reading since I was a child, and I'm a little tired, Yu said. That's good too. Traveling can increase enough knowledge and broaden your horizons. Just like now, I take students out to see various actual Pokémon and combine practice with book knowledge. Dr. Kiku said. Then, the doctor can take Lily and the others to that road, because the Pokémon on the road I took have basically been beaten by me, and they are not in good condition now. Yu pointed to a road and said. Fighting against the Pokémon of the entire forest. Dr. Kiku looked at Yu in surprise. Although he knew that Yu was the champion of the Quartz Conference and his strength would not be bad, he was still surprised that he could cross the forest. After all, which Pokémon that can survive in the forest does not have some skills? The strong ones are ferocious by themselves, and the weak ones, like the strong-jawed Gallinaceus, live in groups. With hundreds of them, they are stronger than a single circle bear. He brought the students in because he believed in his own strength, and secondly, he took the artificially developed road, which was basically sure that there was no danger. But Yu just came to a small road. Yes, and besides, I want to ask when the doctor is free, otherwise, let's have a game. Yu looked at Dr. Kiku and said, it's interesting to fight against a powerful trainer at the level of the king. Well, I'm not striving towards the goal of becoming a Pokémon master anymore. If you want to fight, you can go to the Royal Dome. There are many powerful trainers there. For example, the Royal Masked Man is very powerful. You can fight him. Dr. Kiku said. Royal Masked Man? Yu looked at Dr. Kiku with a strange expression. Are all of you masters so coquettish? He brags about his trumpet being powerful so openly. What's wrong? Dr. Kiku looked at Yu strangely and said, believe me, Royal Masked Man is a very powerful trainer, much more powerful than me. Yes, the Royal Masked Man's blazing roaring tiger is really powerful, just like Dr. Kiku's. Yu looked at Dr. Kiku with a smile. Dr. Kiku was startled. Although he didn't understand what went wrong, he immediately realized that he was exposed. Thinking of his self-praising behavior just now, his old face blushed. Chapter 131, Confrontation with Kachi. Doctor, if we want to fight, can I fight Yu? Kachi suddenly said. Want to fight? Dr. Kiku hesitated for a moment, looked at Yu and said, Yu, what do you think? No problem, I'm happy to accept any challenge, and I have made an appointment with Kachi to fight before. Yu said, it is great to experience different Z moves. Moreover, the strength of the Pokémon in his hands varies greatly, including rookies, elites, and Quasi Kings. No matter what the strength of the opponent is, Yu has a suitable opponent. Okay, today's class will be temporarily changed to watching the Pokémon Z move duel, and we will continue outdoor teaching tomorrow. Dr. Kiku said to Lily and others. Lily and others nodded obediently and sat aside, watching the show with great interest. Even though he knew that this small class teaching was very special, but when he really saw it, Yu couldn't help but sigh that your teaching was too casual, and you changed it at will. Okay, the Pokémon duel starts now. One-on-one, Kachi vs. Yu. Dr. Kiku acted as a referee and walked to the center. Turtleman, come out. Kachi threw the Pokéball, and a heavy red turtle appeared. It's it, but I'm more looking forward to fighting your Charizard, Yu said. Kachi also has a Charizard, which is the main Pokémon of his deceased grandfather, the former king of Akala Island. I didn't bring Charizard with me. If you want to fight, come to my house next time. Kachi said. Okay, you use a turtle, and I also use a turtle. Squirtle, come out. Yu threw the Pokéball, and the silly Squirtle jumped out. Squirtle, a water Pokémon. Kachi said. That's right, in terms of pure attributes, I have the advantage. Yu said. But attributes can be overcome. Turtleman, use our enthusiasm like the Were volcano to defeat the opponent. Kachi strode forward and stomped the ground hard, his fiery red hair burning like a ball of flame. Yu had a serious expression. Most trainers who specialized in fire-type Pokémon had a terrifying fighting passion, just like fire Pokémon. Such passion could sometimes really turn the tables when the difference in strength was not too big. Use the most powerful Jet Flame Burst. Kachi was the first to give the order. Blastoise roared, and a fiery column of flames shot out from its triangular flat mouth, attacking Stottle. Stottle, high-speed rotation. Yu said. Stottle immediately retracted its entire body into its shell, spinning in the air at high speed. Blastoise's fiery flames were easily diverted by Stottle's high-speed rotation, causing no damage to Stottle. High-speed rotation, isn't it an offensive move? It can actually be used for defense. Kachi said in shock. Pokémon battles are not about reciting moves by rote. Attack moves are used to escape, and defense moves are used to attack. This is the simplest way to use them, and it can also be used as one of the criteria for judging whether a trainer is an elite trainer. Yu said. Now, use all your strength. Squirtle, water cannon. Squirtle's shell, which was spinning rapidly, also shot out 4 thick streams of water at this time. Under the force of the fast rotation, it hit Tortoise fiercely. Tortoise was beaten back repeatedly and almost fell. Turtoise, hold on, Kai Bullet. Kachi said. Tortoise gathered strength in its 2 thick hands, and an energy bullet appeared out of thin air, attacking Tortoise, which was spinning at high speed in the air. However, before the Kai Bullet hit Squirtle, the thick water flow on Squirtle's body knocked the Kai Bullet away. Although it was hit and fell helplessly, it was unharmed. Although the attributes are superior, this is too strong. Shulan said in surprise, while watching the game. Her Pokémon is the Alola water-type novice pet Ballsy Lion. She is a trainer who specializes in water, and her attributes restrain Kachi. But in a real fight, Kachi's Blastoise is much stronger than her. How can it be like Yu? This is Yu's strength. Lily said proudly. Quartz Conference champion, is Lily's league conference really exciting? Ma asked curiously. It's very exciting, with many powerful trainers fighting, and various tactics being used, which is much more exciting than what is introduced in the books. Lily nodded. Okay, I'll go to the next conference, too. The fat man Mamane said. The audience was talking about it, but Kachi looked at Yu with a solemn look. That Dragonite was already strong enough, but he didn't expect that it would be so powerful even without Dragonite. There can't be any slackness, and we must show a higher fighting spirit. Burst Flame Turtle, break the shell. Kachi shouted. The exploding flame turtle beast shook its body vigorously, and large spots of light surrounded its body. The protrusions on the shell exploded, and the whole turtle's momentum became several times stronger. break the shell, lower the defense, and then increase all the values except defense. Next, Dragon Tail. Kachi shouted. The thick and flat tail of the exploding flame turtle beast emitted golden light, and it whipped towards the Squirtle with force. Neither the jet of flame nor the true energy bomb could break the high-speed rotation of the Squirtle, so only close combat could be used. Although the exploding flame turtle beast was not fast, the speed of the Squirtle was not fast either, and the exploding flame turtle beast that had been enhanced by breaking the shell was faster than the Squirtle. Squirtle, dig a hole. Yu quickly ordered. The Squirtle beast hurriedly lowered its head, quickly dug a hole with both hands, and suddenly drilled into the ground and disappeared. The exploding flame turtle beast fought all the way, but to no avail. Kachi was also stunned. What should he do? While Kachi was in a daze, Stottle flew out from the ground and punched Tortoise on the chin. Tortoise stepped back and almost fell to the ground. You can still dig a hole. Kachi finally reacted and looked at Tortoise and said, Tortoise, can you still hold on? Tortoise made a deep voice, indicating that it could. Okay, let's use the strongest Z move to decide the outcome. Kachi's eyes burst into red light, and the Z bracelet in his hand emitted a dazzling red light, dancing with Tortoise. My whole heart, my whole mind, my strength, all the Z, just like Mount Akira, it will turn into a hot flame and burn. Kachi swung his posture like a ritual dance, and the light and heat of the Alala region naturally gathered and finally turned into terrifying energy, condensing into a huge flame bomb on Tortoise's chest. All the water near Tortoise's body evaporated, the ground cracked, and then it attacked Stottle violently. Super strong ultimate flame bomb under the strong energy pressure. Stottle's body instinctively stiffened and was unable to move. Stottle, use the most powerful water gun towards the ground. Yu's voice sounded like a shot of adrenaline in Stottle's ears. Stottle instinctively sprayed the most powerful water gun towards the ground. The water column erupted, and Stottle took advantage of the situation and flew into the sky at an astonishing speed. The exploding tortoise used all its strength to hit the ground with an unstoppable Z move. It hit the ground and the ground exploded completely. The power was so strong that it was shocking. If it really hit Stottle, even with attribute resistance, Stottle would be defeated. But for Stottle flying into the sky, no matter how strong the attack was, it was ineffective. After dodging this trick, Stottle fell back to the ground. Looking at the field after the battle, he showed a lingering fear. Fortunately, he dodged it, otherwise he would become a burning turtle. Water gun attacks, ground dodge. Kachi looked unbelievable, and it seemed that all his years of combat training had been broken. Attack is not attack, and defense is not defense. I'll learn to adapt to circumstances from a friend of mine. He will come to Alola in a few days. You can have a good fight with him. He should like it very much. In addition, he also has Charizard. Yu said. He also has Charizard. Kachi's eyes lit up immediately. Anyone with Charizard is a friend. Okay, it's time for my last attack. You attack with Z moves, and I fight back with Z moves. Yu's Z bracelet appeared, and the khaki light shone. Kami Starlet, fight with all your strength, and absorb the earth element around you. Earth Dragon Roaring Sky Great End. Yu said word by word, and the khaki light covered Kami Starlet's whole body. Kami Starlet's little face was serious, and his blue turtle feet suddenly hit the ground, and the whole earth shook violently, and the khaki ground element burst out. With a loud bang, the entire earth shook violently, and countless huge rocks and soil burst out and violently attacked the exploding flame turtle beast. How could the exploding flame turtle beast, which had just used a Z move and was exhausted, bear it? With a Z move critical hit, the exploding flame turtle beast completely lost its ability to fight and fell straight to the ground. Chapter 132 Wearing Bear. You are really strong. Kachi took back Tortoise and looked at Yu. There are many trainers who are stronger than me. Yu also took back Squirtle and said, you may not be unable to catch up with me in the future. It's just that your Z moves lack variety and are too straightforward. Such tricks are easy to dodge. You need to pay attention in the future. In reality, there is no trick that is guaranteed to hit. Z moves are just higher hit rates. Kachi's Flame Bullet is powerful and preemptive. It is powerful enough, but it is also easy to dodge because it is straightforward. Got it? Next time, I will use different Z moves to fight you and defeat you. Kachi said. I look forward to it. In addition, my friend Ozzy will arrive in 3 days. 5 days later, it happens to be the weekend. Let's go to the Royal Dome together. The Royal Masked Man is very strong. Yu looked at Kuki on the side with a smile and deliberately emphasized the 3 words very strong. Dr. Kuki raised his head silently and looked up at the sky at a 45-degree angle. That's it. When we get to the Royal Dome, I will fight you again as the Royal Masked Man. No problem. Kachi nodded. By the way, Dr. Kuki, do you want to go back or continue? If you continue, I'm going to meet a very powerful Pokémon. Do you want to come with me? We can also eat some delicious food by the way. Yu said. Is it dangerous? Dr. Kuki said. If it was him, it didn't matter. The blazing roaring tiger was by his side, and the Z bracelet was always there, but now he was with a group of students. It's not dangerous. Although it is indeed very strong, it won't attack people, Yu said. Okay, let's go together. Dr. Kuki made the decision. Yu actively led the way in front. Along the way, he also encountered many Pokémon that suddenly appeared, and they were all solved by Absol. Dr. Kuki nodded from time to time. At this age, it is really great to have such an achievement. The Maushulians exclaimed from time to time. Although they were born and raised on Melamal Island, they rarely go deep into the forest. After all, these wild places are full of excitement and insecurity. After walking for a long time, a cave appeared in front of Yu and his companions. Bear Mom Yu put his head in and called affectionately. Bear. As soon as Yu finished speaking, a 2-meter tall bear with a pink head and a black body, which looked a bit like a plush teddy bear, fell from the sky and pounced on Yu tightly in his arms. Yu's bones were almost broken by the bear's hug. He said with difficulty, Bear Mom, it's me, don't use so much force. Bear. The bear didn't seem to react at all and hugged Yu tightly. Every pore of Yu's body was resisting, but it was useless, and he could only passively endure it. Bear, wearing a general fighting type Pokémon, has thick and powerful arms and legs. The muscle strength of its back exceeds 1 ton, and anything it hugs with its arms can be split in 2. It is said that it has the habit of hugging its partners tightly and will hug the trainer in its arms to show its closeness, but because of its amazing strength, it may crush the trainer's spine. I didn't expect it to be true. Lilia, the top student, exclaimed. Yu's spine won't be broken, right? Shulan said a little worriedly. This scene was too shocking. And what about the promise that it's not dangerous? Is it really not dangerous? It shouldn't be. Yu's body is very good, and if it's really dangerous, Yu will struggle on his own. Ziozu said. However, the strongest Pokémon in Alola that Yu mentioned is this one, and it doesn't look very powerful. Mamane said. While Mamane was talking, Yu finally had the chance to successfully get out of the arms of the wearing bear. He looked at the wearing bear and said, Bear Mom, go hold Zipper. He's strong and he's fine. Bear. The wearing bear had a silly expression on his face, as if he didn't understand what Yu was talking about at all. Yu looked helpless. He obviously had invincible strange power in the general sense, but he liked to get away with it by being cute. Too much. Now another cute voice sounded, and a little bear the size of a rag doll crawled over and jumped onto Yu. Now Bear, you're here too. How are you? Are you living well? Yu said while touching the Tarngal bear. The reason why he knew the wearing bear and had a good relationship with him was because he helped the wearing bear find the Tarngal bear. Tarngal, of course it's good being with his mother. That's the best. Yu smiled and stroked the Tarngal bear. Bear. The bear wearing looked at the group of Kuki and his face was overjoyed. He gave them another real bear hug. The Kuki had no power to resist and were completely hugged. They experienced the feeling Yu had before and were almost hugged to death. After that, the bear wearing threw them all into the cave and disappeared mysteriously. I almost died. Yu. When did you meet this bear wearing? It's too violent. Lily said. Powerful Pokémon are always special. I want to come and fight to hone the combat power of the Pokémon in my hand. It just so happens that the battle with the Royal Dome will be held in a few days, Yu said. But although that Pokémon is powerful, it is not the strongest in Alola. Our island guardian is always stronger. Kachi said. You will know it after you see it. Yu smiled. The bear wearing can't beat Solgalea and Lunala, but if you compare it with Fort Tapu, it's really hard to say. Boom. Just when Yu was still curious, he heard a loud noise outside. Kachi and the others looked over and saw that the bear picked up a fallen tree, then jumped into the air, jumped 50 or 60 meters, and then quickly fell down and plunged deep into the ground. Kachi was stunned. Is this how you plant trees? And can the bear jump so high? Generally, flying Pokémon only fly 50 or 60 meters during battles. After all, it's too high and not easy to aim. Others Pokémons are not like this, but his is like this. In addition, keep your mouth open, otherwise you may have physical discomfort next. Yu said. What do you mean? Kachi was still confused, but then the bear, who came back from planting trees and holding a honey jar, answered his doubts again, clenched his fist and stuffed it into the honey jar, then punched him hard and roughly fed the honey into Kachi's mouth, almost bursting Kachi's mouth. After the wearing bear took out his hand, it took a long time for Kachi to react and said, "It's so sweet. This is the honey of 3 bees. The honey of 3 bees is the best honey, with top maintenance effects. And it tastes very delicious, but it is difficult to obtain. Because although the combat ability of 3 bees is not strong alone, they can't stand up to the thousands of them together, which is one of the most terrifying existences in the forest. Every year, there are news reports that some circle bears or wearing bears are stung to death because of stealing honey. But this wearing bear actually has so much in his hand. No, it's queen bee honey." Yu corrected, released little Eevee from the Pokeball, and then gave a small jar of honey from the wearing bear to little Eevee. Little Eevee licked the honey, and his whole face was completely melted, indescribably satisfied, as if in a fairyland. Queen bee honey. Dr. Kuki looked at the wearing bear in shock. Queen bee honey has rich nutritional value and is very suitable for newly born human babies or Pokémon. It is the best nutritional product. In the past, only the royal princes could enjoy it. It is still the same now. Not only is it rare, but it is also difficult to obtain, and there is no market for it. Because of the 3 bee colonies with the queen bee, the overall strength is several times stronger than the ordinary 3 bee colonies. If you are not a king, it is good to go in and come out alive, not to mention taking away the honey. And the king level trainers will not do such a thing for the queen bee honey. The income and effort are completely disproportionate. At present, this wearing bear has a large can, which means that this wearing bear is at least king level. A wild wearing bear, without artificial training, and its innate genes are not superior, can actually reach this point. And it is so close to the school, I have never noticed it. Bear the wearing bear keenly noticed the attention of Dr. Kuki, and then suddenly punched Dr. Kuki in the mouth, and Dr. Kuki almost died. Yu watched from the side and laughed secretly, thinking that he was ignorant at the beginning, and he also got through this. Chapter 133, Stuffed-tailed Scaled Dragon. It smells so good. The warm sunlight of a lulla passed through the forest, and mottled shadows appeared on the ground. Yu lay at the foot of the hillside, lazily basking in the sun, squinting his eyes, enjoying the good years. After coming to the place of the wearing bear refused to let him go. Then, Yu found that this kind of life was really good. Clothes come to you, food comes to you. No need to think about how to get food. And what they eat are all natural pollution-free fruits, rich in vitamins, suitable for Yu who eats meat all year round. Bang bang at the same time, a loud sound sounded in front. Yu opened his eyes slightly and watched the wearing bear chasing Eevee and Raichu. Even though it was a little slack, Eevee and Raichu were still chased in a mess, sweating profusely, and hated that he had fewer legs. The corners of Yu's mouth curled up slightly. That's how to practice. In the past few days, being chased by the wearing bear, Raichu and Eevee's lightning flashes have improved a lot. Especially Raichu. His performance in the past few days really opened Yu's eyes. Sure enough, the potential of a fat man is like the water in a sponge. If you squeeze it, there will always be some. Ding ling ling. Yu was still sighing at the beauty of the world, and the phone suddenly made a loud ringing sound. Yu took it curiously. Because his life was too comfortable, his mind was a little slow. He also knew this. On the first day of his arrival, He made a memo for himself, and when the time came, it would ring on time. He opened the phone and found that it was the time for Sasaki and the other two to arrive in Alala, and he needed to go to the airport to pick them up. Yu got up from the ground, stretched his body, and then looked at the bear and said, "Raichu, come here, Eevee, continue practicing." Raichu was overjoyed, turned into a yellow light, and ran towards Yu, and suddenly threw himself into Yu's arms. Finally, I don't have to be chased by the mother bear, so happy. Bob Eevee looked back aggrieved, looking at Raichu in disbelief. Why did Raichu's mother leave, and I have to stay? It's not fair. Bear mom, don't let it go, keep training, Yu said. Bear the bear called out, and then continued to persecute Eevee decisively. Zyaksu, do you want to go pick up Sasaki and the others together? Yu looked at Zyaksu on the side and said, okay. Zyaksu nodded, they were all familiar people. Okay, Mutuo. Yu smiled and looked at Mutuo, who was also basking in the sun. Mutuo put down the book in his hand, glanced at Yu, and then his superpower flashed, and he, Yu, Zyaksu and the other Pokémon disappeared together. When they appeared again, they were at the airport of Melamal Island. Mutuo's teleportation is really amazing. Although it was not the first time to experience Mutuo's teleportation, Zyaksu couldn't help but sigh every time. It's really convenient to have this teleportation. We don't have the privilege of the psychic system, so let's wait for someone now. In addition, Zyaragang didn't come this time, and Zyos's companion became Zyrogian. Yu said. Zyaragang actually separated from Zyossi and the others? Zyaksu was surprised. Yes, I met my true love, Professor Archiki, in the Orange Islands. Now I'm doing chores for Professor Archiki and taking care of the house. Yu said. Is there true love? Zyaksu breathed a sigh of relief. She had a good impression of Zyaragang. Zyaragang was one of the most talented breeders she had ever seen, but she really didn't have any feelings for Zyaragang. So, it was great that Zyaragang could find a partner. Zyaragang should be true love, but it's hard to say whether the other party has feelings. In fact, Zyaragang should come to Alala, Yu said. The island queen of Akira Island and Zyaragang and the animation, although they didn't work out in the end, they really put a wave of dog food. And Professor Archiki and Zyaragang directly became one of the unsolved mysteries of the animation. Come to Alala, what for? Because many people have the same skin color as him? But I don't think skin color is the key. Zyaksu said. The key is Zyaragang's personal problem, but these are all things for the future. Yu said. That's right, if Zyaragang lives in the Orange Islands, I don't know if we will meet again in the future. Zyaksu said. Don't worry about that. We will definitely meet again. Yu said. Zyaragang is the male second with the deepest feelings for Zhi. He has just arrived at a certain place. He will definitely meet Zhi again. And Zhi and Zyrozu will definitely meet again. So it is inevitable that Zyrozu and Zyrogang will also meet again. That's the best. Zyrozu nodded and chatted and laughed with Yu to pass the time. Soon, the plane arrived. Zhi, Zyro Misty and Zyrogian, who Yu had only seen on the video call, appeared in front of Yu and Zyrozu. Alala, Yu said to Zhi, and others with the unique welcome words of Lala. Zhi was slightly stunned and didn't understand what it meant. Zyro Misty shouted almost at the same time, Alala Yu. She made a travel guide when she came. Welcome to you. Now follow me to Lilia's house to get ready, and then go to see Solgalea. Yu said. Yu, no need. Let's go directly to see Solgalea and the others. I can't wait to see the new Pokémon. Zhi said excitedly. His whole body was full of blood. If possible, I also want to see the Pokémon I have never seen before, and the legendary Pokémon. Zyrogiant said, as a Pokémon observer, his favorite thing is to observe and get to know new Pokémon, not to mention that the target this time is a legendary Pokémon. I have no problem, but Zyraksha, can you? Yu looked at Zyraksha and said. Zyraksha tilted her head helplessly. She was helpless to meet such two companions, but they were all companions, so they could only advance and retreat together. She looked at Yu and said, I have no problem too, let's go now. Okay then. Mewtwo. Yu looked at Mewtwo again in a sweet voice. Mewtwo closed the book in his hand and used teleportation again, crossing countless areas, from the airport on Melamal Island to the Pony Grand Canyon on Pony Island. This is not the Sun Altar, we have to go deeper. Yu looked around and said. Mewtwo glanced at Yu without saying anything or positioning and teleported you here instantly. It was already good. What else do you want? Okay, it's not bad. There just happens to be a group of dominant Pokémon here. Scaled Armored Dragon. Take their Z Pure Crystals. Yu said. Z Pure Crystal? What is that? Is Scaled Armored Dragon a very powerful Pokémon? He asked with full of doubts. This question was too troublesome to answer, so Yu chose not to answer it, but to answer it with reality, and walked directly into the cave in front. As soon as he stepped into it, the whole cave immediately made a rustling sound. In the darkness countless red eyes suddenly lit up, exuding a strong sense of danger. Xiaozi, Xiaoxia, and Xiaojian instinctively felt that something was wrong and subconsciously stepped back. Calm down, boss, they haven't come out yet. Yu looked calmly at the front. As soon as the words fell, the ground and rocks in the place where Yu was looking at loosened, and a ferocious looking, skinny monster appeared in front of Yu and the others. Its long tail trembled, and large pieces of rocks fell. After that, all the red lights showed their bodies, which were the degenerate forms of the staff-tailed scaled dragon, the hard-scaled treasure, and the scaled dragon. They were distributed around the cave, and their scales trembled together, making dangerous sounds. Chapter 134 Dragon Pure Crystal. Is this the Pokémon of Alola? How can it be so big? Xiaojian looked at the huge armored dragon with a shocked face. Because it is a dominant Pokémon. It is 3 or 4 times the size of a normal armored dragon. Yu explained. Dominant Pokémon? Is it a new Pokémon? Xiaojian continued to ask curiously. Can we not talk about this for now? This is not the key point. The key point is that this Pokémon wants to attack us. What should we do? Xiao said in a panic. Can you guys look at the place before chatting? That's right. What should we do now? Xiaojian said in a panic. None of the Pokémon in his hand could deal with this huge armored dragon. It's simple. Just attack them all. Isn't it? Repeat what someone did 3 years ago. Yu looked at the armored dragon and said. Hello, long time no see, do you still remember me? Roar. The armored dragon let out an angry roar, and the surrounding rocks were shaken and rolled down. Yu, have you been here before? Xiaozu asked curiously. I came here with Ziba, and watched Ziba capture a hard-scale Pokémon. Yu said. He was really impressed by that scene. A monster slaughtered all the Pokémon in the entire cave. It showed what it meant to be invincible. Now it was his turn. Haunter, come on. Yu took out the Pokeball and released Haunter. When he came here with Ziba, he was not a trainer yet, but Haunter had been with him since he was a child, so he watched along. Haunter laughed uncomfortably when he saw these Pokémon. Roar. The Overlord Staff-tail scaled Ankylosaurus finally couldn't bear it anymore and took the lead. It let out a shocking roar, and the sound waves rolled, shaking the rocks in the entire cave. Xiaoxu and the others immediately covered their ears, feeling extremely uncomfortable. All the other Pokémon around also vibrated their scales and made terrifying sounds in coordination, making Xiaoxu and the others almost vomit. Explosive sonic wave. Yuyu's pupils shrank slightly. Sure enough, he was not the only one who was improving. After not seeing him for a few years, the strength of this overlord Pokémon was also improving rapidly. Then just go for the ultimate. Haunter, gather all the darkness. The Z bracelet on Yuyu's hand burst out with purple light, and the rich ghost aura gathered from all directions, appearing on Yuyu and Haunter at the same time. The whole cave was quickly swept by ghost energy, changing from earth yellow to dark purple, just like the legendary spirit world hell, and countless black tentacles burst out at the same time. Endless dark night. Yuyu shouted in a low voice, like the whisper of a devil. Countless dark forces burst out in the whole cave. The scales of the Overlord Staff-tail scaled dragon trembled, and another terrifying sound wave burst out, trying to resist these dark tentacles, but it didn't last long, and was completely defeated by these dark energies, hit violently, and was blown away, including the Overlord Staff-tail scaled dragon. All the wild Pokémon in the whole cave fell down. Successfully resolved. How are you? Yu looked at Xiaoxu and the others and said. Xiaoxu and the others ignored him, rubbing their temples hard, trying to calm themselves down. It was still too uncomfortable to be attacked by sound waves for a long time. Yu, what was your special move just now? Only Xiaoxu looked at Yu in surprise. Although they suffered the same damage, it was obvious that everyone's ability to withstand it was different. Z moves unique to Alala. With Z bracelet and Z crystal, you can use Z moves. Pikachu can use Z moves with electric Z crystal. Ultimate Volt Thunderbolt. Yu said. Pikachu, you can too. Xiaoxu was overwhelmed with surprise. How do I get it? I wanted to. Pikachu can be so powerful. The Pilgrimage of Islands is similar to the Orange Alliance you challenged in the Orange Islands. There are 4 islands here, and each island has an island king. You can challenge them. If you win, you will get Z Crystal and Z Bracelet. After defeating 4 islands, the Pilgrimage of Islands is completed. There is just no Victor's Cup for you to challenge. Yu said. Yu, are you already challenging? Xiaoxu said. Yes. Yu said. Then I want to challenge too. Xiaoxu said without thinking. Are you sure? You haven't finished the Orange Islands yet, and you want to challenge the archipelago? These 2 challenges are not easy for you at the moment. In addition, there will be the Silver Conference in Johto next. It is a competition of the same level as the Quartz Conference, with many strong players. If you focus on these 2, you may not have enough time for the Silver League. Yu said. There is also the Silver Conference. Xiaoxu showed a puzzled expression and was entangled. He wanted the Z Pure Crystal. The Orange League was already halfway through. He also wanted the Victor's Cup, but the League Conference was with many trainers, and he also wanted to go. What should he do if he wanted everything? After struggling for a while, Xiaoxu said, no matter, let's finish the archipelago first, then go to the Victor's Cup, and finally the Silver League. Let's work hard and bring a navigation device. If we don't get lost, maybe we can do it. Don't get lost? Yu raised the corner of his mouth slightly. To be honest, Xiaoxu's choice was within his expectations. With Xiaoxu's personality, how could he give up when he saw something like the Z Pure Crystal? Moreover, if he didn't get lost, and Xiaoxu had no problem with his brain, it would be really fast to use Charizard to clear all 8 gyms. But in this case, would Xiaoxu still capture as many Pokémon as in the original book? After all, for a normal trainer, getting lost during travel is dangerous, but for Xiaoxu, getting lost is an adventure. Although the Pokémon that Xiaoxu captured in the Johto region are generally not very strong, except for the Bug King Heracross, the performance of the others is not outstanding. You know, even the Pokémon in the Unova region, which has always been criticized, have an ace main force, Rogue Crocodile, and in the Johto region, when fighting the last gym, Charizard and Snorlax must be called back. At the League Conference, the performance of the Kanto Big 3 was even more bloody than the Johto Big 3, and there was no such thing as an ace. But strength is strength, and cuteness is cuteness. The jealous King Yi, the dancing little crocodile, and the squinting Infernape are still very cute. However, Xiaoxu's life was decided by himself, and had nothing to do with Yu. As a friend, he could only guide him at most. He walked towards the unconscious Overlord Staff-Tail Scaled Dragon, patted the scales of the Overlord Staff-Tail Scaled Dragon and said, do you have a Z Pure Crystal of the Dragon type? Give me one, and I'll leave. Last time when he came with Zibber, the Overlord Staff-Tail Scaled Dragon dropped a Z Pure Crystal, and of course it was taken away by Zibber. Now Yu came, of course he also wanted to take one. After all, he has a dragon Pokémon. The Overlord Staff-Tail Scaled Dragon spit out a Z Pure Crystal of the Dragon type from its mouth, took the thing, and got out of here. Don't spit it out of your mouth, it's better to take it from somewhere else. Also, don't be sad, because there may be another one. Yu said. In the animation, Lusamine was captured, and Gladion came here, to seek a way to the ultimate world, and slaughtered the whole family. Gladion should come here again in the future. After all, there is a Z Pure Crystal of the Dragon type here. Roar Overlord Armored Dragonite let out a low roar. Someone else is coming. Who do you think I am? Well, if you don't want to be beaten, then work hard to become stronger. Theoretically, you are a Pokémon on par with Dragonite. Yu took out the healing spray and gave Overlord Armored Dragonite a simple treatment. Armored Dragonite, saying this is also something that Yu is quite puzzled about. In the game, it is an Alala quasi-god, on par with Pokémon such as Dragonite and Metagross. But in the animation, its combat power is a bit low. A whole family, at least 70 or 80, was slaughtered and crushed by a silver companion war beast of Lilia's eldest brother Gladion. Although there is a reason for the fourfold restraint of the fairy type, it is too weak. In the Alola League conference, a trainer who used Armored Dragonite did not pass around. If Dragonite was this big, it would basically be the king, but Overlord Armored Dragonite may not be the opponent of Absol alone. There is another bigger problem. There are so many heart scales here, but no one is here to catch them. If it were Dratini or Yukara, they would be caught in a matter of minutes, right? Yu was not sure, so he asked Ziba to do an experiment. If Ziba could train well, he would take one. If she was above average, forget it. After a little treatment, Yu and his group went deeper and finally reached the Sun Altar. Chapter 135 Mewtwo vs. Lunala. Lunera, here I come. Yu shouted loudly towards the sky. Not long after shouting, two figures fell from the sky. One was Lunala, whom Yu had seen before. She was elegant and noble, like a noble, with the mystery of the moon. The other was a tall and burly lion, with 4 golden thorns on its head, as majestic as a crown, and the pure white mane under its head was distributed in the shape of the sun, mighty and overbearing, just like the sun in the sky. Solgaleo, the legendary sun god of Lala, just like the sea god of Lugia, as a sun god. Solgaleo does not have the fire attribute, and even has the steel attribute that is restrained by the fire attribute, so this is a sun god who is afraid of fire. In addition, it is worth noting that, although Solgaleo is tall and burly, there is a hint of oldness in his demeanor. However, only Yu discovered this, and the rest of Zyozzy and the others were amazed at this Pokémon they saw for the first time. Even the most careful Zyanoxu did not notice it. Human, this is the other human you found who can help us. Lunala looked at Zyozzy and said to Yu, yes, he is strong, sincere, resistant to beatings and falls, and has a good relationship with many Pokémon, so 5-star recommendation. Yu said. Zyozzy cooperated with his chest and head raised. I'm very useful. Lunala looked at Solgaleo. What do you think? Solgaleo stared at Zyozzy, as if he wanted to see through Zyozzy. Zyozzy cooperated with being looked at. I'm very good, use me. Zyozzy, Zyogyan, and Zyanoxu also looked at it expectantly. Although this matter could not be done successfully, it actually did not do any harm to Zyozzy, but it was always good to help more. No one wanted Alola to be destroyed. This place is beautiful. Only Yu was not worried at all. In the future, even the children would be taken care of by Zyozzy, let alone this? Okay. Sure enough, not long after, Solgaleo nodded in agreement, and a brown Z pure crystal flew out of his body. I don't know why, but when I look at this boy, I just like him inexplicably, and I feel that this person is trustworthy. It's really strange. Thank you, Solgaleo. I will definitely work hard. Zyozzy took the Z pure crystal and said, human, you are helping me. You don't need to thank me, and I may have something to trouble you in the future. Solgaleo said. Lunala listened and looked at Solgaleo strangely. Have you decided now? So soon? I still want to give it to you. But forget it. Anyway, it's your position that I will inherit. It's okay. Pokemon's affairs are my affairs. No matter what it is, I will help. Zyozzy vowed. Solgaleo looked at the sincere smile on Zyozzy's face and suddenly understood why he liked him. He smiled and said, Alola will be handed over to you. If you need anything in the future, you can go to Kapu and the others. No need to wait. I have something now and want to ask you. Yu said. What is it? Lunala said. It's like this. I have a Raichu other than Alola, with lightning attribute. I want it to become a psychic attribute like Alola, and then change its characteristics to the characteristics of Alola Raichu. Surftail. Is it possible? Yu asked. Change the attributes and characteristics? Lunala said with a thoughtful expression. Changing the attributes takes a long time. Only under the long-term effect of the ultimate magnetic field can there be a subtle change. If you want to achieve it quickly, you must find Necrozma. No? Can the characteristics be changed? Yu asked. Others may be possible, but your Raichu can't. Although the characteristics of the Raichu here are mainly lightning, if there is no psychic power, the Raichu can't float at all, and there is no surfing. Lunala said. So, neither the attributes nor the characteristics can be changed. Yu said disappointedly, expecting in vain. If it's a psychic or ghost attribute, after I revive Necrozma, I can share some energy with it, so that it can acquire my characteristics and my special moves, or we can use other methods, but none of them will work now. Lunala said. That's right, you still have to save Necrozma, so you can't waste energy. Forget it, just ignore what I said. Yu said. Everything is still based on saving Alala. In fact, the physical changes of Pokémon are also very complicated. I don't recommend you to do this, because the mutation of attributes may bring other changes. Lunala said. Really? Yu was a little confused. If it is normal logic, this is right. After all, attributes are factors of the body itself. There must be something related. Changing attributes will have a big impact. Just like some human body modifications in later generations, injecting potions, and genetic mutations. It sounds scary. But Pokémon is a kind of unscientific creature. After evolution, one more attribute is very common in Pokémon, and after Boscortora Super Evolution, one less attribute. That's the truth. If it's just the transformation of characteristics, I can use Alala's magnetic field to make a slight transformation for psychic and ghost attributes. But for the transformation of attributes, you have to find Necrozma to be safe, otherwise something might go wrong. Lunala said. Okay, I understand. It depends on whether Necrozma will give you face after resurrection. Yu said. In the animation, Necrozma seems to be a heartless person. Arceus was saved by Zyozzy and others, and at least said thank you. It was saved, turned around and left without even saying thank you. It's probably impossible to get benefits from him. It's better to flatter Arceus. When you go to SYNOPSIS, follow the plot, travel through time and space, and become Arceus's savior. Maybe you can get some benefits. After making up his mind, Yu looked at Lunala and said, goodbye, we will work hard to collect light and heat energy. When we meet next time, it may be the time when we collect enough energy. Come on. Lunala said. Okay, Mewtwo is going to bother you again. Yu turned his head and looked at Mewtwo, but this time Mewtwo ignored him and looked at Lunala and said, you are the very strong Pokémon I sensed. You too. What is your relationship with Mew? Lunala looked at Mewtwo and said, what a strange power. Is it the masterpiece of Mew? Not good. When Yu heard the word Mew, his face suddenly changed, and he looked at Mewtwo. Sure enough, Mewtwo's expression sank. Even if he has read a lot of books and cultivated his character, Mewtwo is still a taboo for Mewtwo. Whoever says it will die. You fight with me. Mewtwo said to Lunala, and then threw a shadow ball directly at him. Lunala moved his body, flew away in the sky, looked at Yu and said, is this your Pokémon? No, it's my partner. Besides, fight, don't show mercy. Yu said. Mewtwo came here on purpose, and he should have the intention to fight. It's just that he was stimulated by Lunala and did it in advance. Okay. Lunala nodded, and the power surged in her body. The dark light filled the sky. Countless dark energy balls were thrown and collided with Mewtwo's energy, making explosions in the air. Many energy balls were not hit and fell to the ground, and they exploded on a large scale, like falling meteors, cracking the earth and rocks, and shaking the earth. Zyozzy and his group saw two blue and purple lights fighting fiercely in the sky, crisscrossing, and then there were continuous energy balls falling. They quickly hugged their heads and searched for a place to hide. Yu immediately pulled Zyarksu and silently came under Solgaleo, and then squatted silently. Solgaleo looked down at Yu and Zyarksu squatting under him and asked, are you and I familiar with each other? Just squat like this? Believe it or not, I will sit down. It's safe there. Zyozzy, Zyarksha, and Zyogyan also saw the only safe place here now, and hurriedly ran over and huddled under Solgaleo's body. Solgaleo looked depressed and felt like an old hen protecting her cubs, and the most important thing was that these cubs were not her own. But there was no other way, so she could only protect them like this. Looking up at the Mewtwo and Lunala who were fighting, He showed a nostalgic expression. If he were a few hundred years younger, he would rush up. Unfortunately, he was about to die, and there were only 5 or 6 years left. Muto's power seems to be even stronger than before. Zaiatsu squatted beside Yu and said, "Yeah, Muto is really a miracle," Yu said, "a real artificial beast, and I don't know how Team Rocket did it. It has power close to that of a first level beast as soon as it was born. The newly born Lugia in the Whirlpool Islands doesn't even know a trick. Moreover, its strength is still improving. Yu doesn't know where the limit is. Now fighting Lunala, although he doesn't have the upper hand, he doesn't suffer any loss. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 136 Tapu. Boom. The two energies collided fiercely, and the two Pokémon fell at the same time. Then they floated in the air at the same time, looking at each other fearfully, as if no one dared to make the first move. Alright, it's almost done. If you keep fighting, you'll have to fight to the death. Yu seized the opportunity, and jumped out in time. Lunala listened, but did not refute, just looked at Muto. It just wanted to fight with Muto, a strange Pokémon it had seen for the first time, and did not want to fight to the death. Before Necrozma was resurrected, it wanted to absorb energy and recuperate. The previous competition was over. If it continued to fight, it would have to burn out all its strength without leaving any room. In that case, no matter whether it won or lost, it would not be worth it. Muto, it's almost done, Yu said. Muto did not answer, but its superpower fluctuated and disappeared instantly. It did not really want to fight with Lunala. It just wanted to find a Pokémon with similar strength to fight. Only through fighting can it find its own shortcomings and then improve. After being beaten by Giratina, it never forgot to get back at him. Seeing Muto leave in a face, Yu breathed a sigh of relief, but soon realized something. It was not close from Pony Island to Melamal Island. He did not bring Dragonite with him this time. If Muto ignored him, how could they go back? Lunala. Yu turned his head and looked at Lunala. "I don't have the strength now," Lunala said, and then teleported and disappeared. Then, Solgaleo did not wait to speak, stepped into the sky, and disappeared in front of Yu. "I didn't expect the people of Alola to be reliable, and the guardian gods are so big. Let's walk slowly." Yu looked at Zaiatsu and said, "No problem, I was a traveler before I met you." Zaiatsu smiled. "It's hard for you. You just got off the plane, and you're tired again." Yu looked at Zaiatsu and the others and said, "No problem, we were traveling all the way." Zaiatsu said indifferently, "For him, is walking a hassle? Then let's go." Yu led a group of people and set off in a mighty manner, but they didn't go far before it got dark. They could only stay temporarily at the Pokémon Center and wait until the next day to set off by boat. After eating the dinner provided by the Pokémon Center, Yu got up and was about to take a walk to digest the food, but Professor Oak called. Yu took the call curiously and said, "Grandpa Oak, is there anything?" "Nothing. Zaiatsu is with you, right?" Professor Oak said. "Yes, you are looking for Zaiatsu. Wait a minute." Yu handed the phone to Zaiatsu, and Zaiatsu took the phone and said, "Professor Oak, what's the matter? You still ask me what's the matter? Have you forgotten the ball of Professor Uchiki?" Professor Oak said in a low voice. "Professor Uchiki?" "Yes, Dr. Uchiki's ball." Zaiatsu suddenly realized and stood up. Yu's eyebrows jumped, and he probably guessed what Professor Oak and Zaiatsu said. The GS ball is also an unsolved mystery in the worldview of the Pokémon animation. In the setting, it is about catching Celebi. It is a very special Pokéball. However, can these two people talk better? Don't always say ball when it comes to Professor Uchiki's Pokéball. Male professors are fine, but the ball of a beautiful professor who can conquer Zyada Gang, Professor Uchiki, is easy to be misunderstood. "That's right, when will you bring it back to me?" Professor Oak said, sighing in his heart. Sure enough, he is unreliable. Asking Zaiatsu to get the Pokéball, it was fine that it only fought the Orange League halfway, but now it has disappeared directly from the Orange Islands. Yes, I still have to return the GS ball to the professor, but professor, I found a new Z move here in Alala, and I want to complete the island tour, which may take a little longer. Zyozzy said apologetically. Island tour? My cousin's place. It is indeed a good way to improve strength, but you can't waste too much time. Professor Oak urged. Okay, Professor Oak, I'll hurry up. Zyozzy lowered his head and promised repeatedly. After a long time, he hung up the phone and returned the phone to Yu. You're too busy with the beginning and not the end again. Yu teased Zyozzy. Every time you get excited, you will forget some things. I was so happy when I came across the island tour that I forgot about Professor Oak. Zyozzy showed an embarrassed expression, but soon said, I will hurry up and learn Z moves first, then return to the Orange Islands, finish the Victory Cup, and then return the GS ball to Professor Oak. It's a good arrangement, but don't let Kachi hear what you said just now. In his heart, Z moves are the most sacred things in Alala. He might challenge you to a duel when he hears you say you can learn them casually. Yu said. Kaki, who is it? And what exactly are Z moves? You haven't told me yet. Zyozzy asked curiously. Kaki, Lily's classmate, I will arrange for you to meet on the weekend. As for Z moves, it is a ritual similar to sacrificial prayer. It is a very sacred method in the hearts of the people of Lala. It is a trick that can only be achieved with very sacred beliefs. Yu said. What is a sacred belief? Zyozzy asked. For someone, for the world, mountains, and rivers, you will have a lot of this kind of thing. Don't worry. And this is not the key. The key is that you just need to know that you can get Z moves by touring the islands. I can tell you about the extra principles for half an hour. Do you want to listen? Yu said. No need. Zyozzy shook his head without thinking, shaking his head faster than a rattle. He hated book knowledge principles the most. Then prepare to rest. When we return to Melamal Island tomorrow, I will take you to the islands. Then you can see if there is enough time. If it is not convenient, you can go back after tomorrow's victory. Take down the Orange League's Winners' Cup first, otherwise you don't know when you will get the next championship trophy. Yu said. What? You don't believe in my strength. I'm very strong. This time in the Orange League, my partners and I have grown a lot together, and I have also conquered some new companions. As long as I work hard, I will be able to win the championship next time. Zyozzy vowed. Next time. 20 years later, Yu said. Yu, I want to duel with you. Zyozzy looked at Yu angrily. Okay, I'm going to challenge the island tour tomorrow, so I don't have time to care about you. If you really have too much energy, I'll find a master to fight you when we return to Melamal Island. Yu said. Master? Is he very powerful? Zyozzy asked. Powerful? Yu nodded affirmatively. Your strongest enemy in Alala. Then I'll fight you after I beat him. Zyozzy said. Yu shrugged indifferently, went out for a walk, and then came back to sleep. The next day, I took the boat to Melamal Island and finally returned to Melamal Island at noon. I rested at Lilia's house and changed the Pokémon on hand. Then in the afternoon, I came to the residence of Hera, the king of Melamal Island. However, I didn't go in to find Hera, the king of the island. Instead, I took out Lunala's Z pure crystal and placed it on the Z bracelet, emitting a dark light. Somewhere nearby, a Pokémon that looked like an indigenous god, with something like a rooster's comb on its head and a huge half shell on both hands, suddenly opened its eyes, flashed with electricity, and flew in front of Yu at lightning speed, turning into a flash of lightning. Chapter 137 Tapu Ming Ming. I'm in a difficult situation. Yu, what kind of Pokémon is this? Zyozzy came over curiously. Alala is really magical. There are Pokémon everywhere that I haven't seen. Tapu Kokoro, a Pokémon with both electric and fairy attributes, the island guardian of Melamal Island. It is also the master we are going to meet this time. Yu said. Master? Zyozzy showed a strange expression. Master is a Pokémon? Of course, it is a very strong Pokémon. Yu said. In the original trajectory, it abused you for a whole area, until the end, it let you turn the tables with 10 million volts, and sent you to the top with its own head. At this time, Tapu Kokoro suddenly made a sharp cry and looked at the Z pure crystal of Lunala on Yu's bracelet strangely, with a puzzled look in his eyes, as if wondering why Yu had this. This was given to me by Lunala. It said that I'm its temporary messenger and can ask you for help if there is anything, right? Yu said. Tapu looked at the Lunala Z crystal in Yu's hand with a thoughtful expression and nodded after a while. The boss's younger brother is half of his boss. Okay, my request is very simple. Have a battle with my Pokémon and then teach it the special moves of the electric field. Yu released Raichu and said. Tapu looked down at Raichu, which is different from the one in Alala, a little yellow, but it is also an electric type. No problem. Wait, to fight against powerful Pokémon, Pikachu can also be used. This, I also have it. Zyozzy reached out and took out Solgalia's Z crystal. Tapu's coxcomb trembled. Two younger brothers of the two bosses came over. Which one should I listen to? Looking down at Pikachu at Zyozzy's feet and Raichu at Yu's feet, he showed a thoughtful expression. Which one is stronger and which one is weaker? Which one comes first and which one comes later? After watching for a long time, Tapu's eyes suddenly became fierce, and the surging electric current on his body flowed, spreading around with himself as the center. Thousands of square meters were covered with electric light and turned yellow. Then, his whole body flashed yellow light, releasing terrifying electric current, and attacked Pikachu and Raichu at the same time. After watching for a long time, both of them are not strong, and they can't beat me together. Why choose? Why not attack together? Tapu's sudden attack, Yu and Zyozzy didn't expect it, and could only give orders instinctively. Zyozzy, Pikachu, get out of the way. Yu, Raichu, insert your tail into the ground. Tapu's terrifying electric current hit. Pikachu jumped flexibly, but it was still a little slow, and was hit by the electric current, and fell to the side. But fortunately it avoided the main attack, and Pikachu itself is also an electric type, so the impact is small, and Raichu inserted its tail into the ground. Tapu's electric current was directly transferred to the ground by Raichu, and it was unharmed. You can also do this by inserting your tail into the ground to conduct electricity. Lily, who had taken half a day off to watch the game, was surprised to see this scene. Fortunately, when we were traveling, Zyozzy's Pikachu also did this. This is a unique ability of electric Pokémon. Some powerful electric Pokémon can even directly absorb the current emitted by weak electric Pokémon. Zyozzy said. She and Lily had met before, and had a good relationship. Traveling really allows you to see a lot of things. But since Zyozzy's Pikachu has done it, why doesn't he continue to do it? Lily asked curiously. Because Zyozzy likes to get away quickly, Zyozzy said after thinking for a while. Oh. Lily nodded as if she understood. Zyozzy, who was in the battle, also remembered at this time that he could do this, but now he couldn't think about it. More importantly, Tapu Kokoro was really strong. Pikachu, come on, use lightning flash on Tapu Kokoro. Zyozzy shouted. Pikachu ran quickly, turned into a flash of lightning, and rushed towards Tapu Kokoro violently. Tapu chiming moved his body, leaving a shadow in the air, easily dodging Pikachu's flash of electricity, and then appeared again, and hit Pikachu hard, knocking Pikachu to the ground. Raichu, 100,000 volts. Yu shouted fiercely at this time. Thunder Raichu's eyes widened, and a terrifying electric current burst out from his body, swallowing Tapu chiming all over. Tapu chiming couldn't dodge in time, so he could only stretch out his hand and use the half shell in his hand to resist the strong current, but as soon as it came into contact, he felt that the current was unusually strong. Tapu chiming was not affected at all in the air, and was forcibly knocked away for more than 10 meters before stopping. Tapu chiming looked at the burn mark on the half shell in his hand strangely, showing an interested look. This Raichu is a little different. Yu's mouth corners slightly raised. Tapu chiming's characteristic is electrical maker. When he is serious, he will form an electrical field around his body. In the electrical field, the power of electrical attribute tricks increases significantly, and he will not fall asleep. This is not only applicable to Tapu Kokoro, but all electric Pokémon. Raichu can't do anything else, but it has a lot of electricity. Yu was feeling proud when he saw a shadow passing by. Raichu was attacked by a powerful force and fell to the side before he could react. At this time, Tapu Kokoro's figure appeared on the field. Moreover, his expression was more excited than before. Tapu Kokoro was born with a strong curiosity. This Raichu was stronger than expected, which greatly stimulated Tapu Kokoro's curiosity. He fought harder. After all, doing what you want to do and dealing with what the boss does are two completely different things. Pikachu, Irontail. At this time, Zyos's voice also rang. Pikachu jumped up, and its tail shone with a bright white metallic luster, and it slashed towards Tapu Kokoro quickly. Tapu Kokoro dodged again, but looking at Zyos's Pikachu, his expression became more joyful. It likes both of these Pokémon. Let's play. Tapu Chirp let out a joyful cry, and then the electricity surged in his body, the iron swam, and the flying speed became faster. At the same time, he fought with Pikachu and Raichu. The electricity intertwined, and the terrifying electricity burst out. He flew at an incredible speed, and knocked Pikachu and Raichu away. He was also very good at close combat. He used the electric and fairy special moves at the same time, and easily played the two Pokémon in his hands. Pikachu, don't give up, hold on. Zyos he kept cheering Pikachu, and Pikachu got up with difficulty. Raichu, come on. Catch up with Tapu Chirp, and fight with all your strength. You also cheered loudly. The victory or defeat of this game was not important, because there was no doubt that he would lose. This was just training. Therefore, it didn't matter if all the flaws were exposed, and he was beaten mercilessly. As long as he persisted, he would become stronger step by step. Pikachu with a sincere encouragement from the trainer, Pikachu and Raichu were inspired, and their cheeks were shining with electricity. For each other's trainer, they would fight with all their strength. Pikachu and Raichu intertwined, transformed into two rays of light, and launched a fierce attack on Tapu Kokoro. The powerful and terrifying electric current penetrated in all directions. But it was still unable to shake Tapu Kokoro's strength. It was an amazing scene that attracted the Island King Hera on the side. Chapter 138 I'm so stupid. The king of the island, Hera, was an old man about the same age as Professor Oak. Under his loose clothes, he was slightly overweight. Seeing the only person he knew, Lily, he asked, who are they? Why are they fighting with the island guardian? Mr. Hera. Lily saw Hera, and showed some respect on her face. In the hearts of all the islanders, Mr. Hera was a gentle and respectable elder. Then, he explained, they are Yu and Zyossi from Kanto. They are both very powerful trainers. They have been recognized by Lunala and Solgalea respectively, and are now working hard to help Alala. Recognized by Lunala and Solgalea. Help Alala. What happened to Alala? Hera was shocked. Hasn't Alala always been peaceful? What disaster has come to a place that requires the legendary Sun and Moon Guardians to appear and choose humans to help? It's like this. Lily relayed what she learned from Yu to Hera. After hearing this, Hera couldn't come back to his senses for a long time. After a while, he said, so the future of Alala needs to be saved by these two boys. For now, yes, because they have been recognized. Lilia said. Hera nodded seriously, and then watched the battle intently, trying to see what was special about them that could be recognized by the god of the sun and the moon. At this time, Tapu Chirp, who didn't know whether he was having too much fun or something, suddenly let out a sharp cry, and then flew down from the sky, hitting Raichu with a strong impact. After a battle, it also found that Pikachu is better at close combat than long-range combat, while Raichu is just the opposite. It is strong in long-range combat, and has almost no close combat skills to show off. Raichu showed a painful expression on his face. This attack was really painful, stronger than any attack he had suffered before. Raichu, hold on, we have to become stronger together, reach the peak, and become a heroic Raichu. Have you forgotten? Think about the experience of that Raichu, and think about yourself. We will not be weak. Yu shouted. Hero Raichu? Raichu, who was lying on the ground, thought about the Raichu in the movie that had a statue in the People's Square. His hesitant eyes turned into determination. I want to become stronger, even stronger. Help I, like that heroic Raichu, then become a hero. Hurry! Tapu Koko turned into a flash of lightning and rushed towards Raichu again, hitting Raichu again. But this time, Raichu held on. With a strong cry, white light flashed on his fist, and he hit Tapu Koko's head fiercely, just like playing whack-a-mole, hitting Tapu Koko hard. Tapu Koko was caught off guard. He didn't expect that Raichu, a Pokémon that didn't know how to fight in close combat just now, would now have a fighting trick. His head was a little confused. Then a loud Pikachu sounded behind his head, and Pikachu suddenly jumped over from behind, hitting Tapu Koko with a strong iron tail, knocking Tapu Koko to the ground, raising a large amount of dust, making Tapu Koko very embarrassed. Is this explosion punch? When did Raichu learn this trick? Xiaoxu asked in surprise. She had always been the one taking care of Yu's Pokémon, so she knew all the tricks. How did he suddenly learn the explosion punch, a great fighting trick? The powerful and full strength punch could cause most Pokémon to fall into chaos. Even though Tapu Mu was strong enough, it was hit by Pikachu. Because of this pause, maybe he learned it when playing whack-a-mole, Lily said uncertainly. The posture of the punch just now was very similar to the action that Raichu would use when playing whack-a-mole with her tablet. He learned the explosion punch from whack-a-mole? Harold looked at Lily with a strange expression. What kind of ultimate skill is this? He is an expert specializing in fighting, and he knows how powerful the explosion punch is. But now he said that he learned it from whack-a-mole. What kind of joke is this? Yu was also stunned. He didn't expect Raichu to learn the explosion punch, a fighting trick. He was intent on training Raichu to learn Steel Tail, but after more than half a year, there was no significant result. He didn't expect that, after playing the game for more than half a year, Raichu learned the explosion punch. The fighting type explosion punch is better than the Steel Tail in terms of power and impact area. The only flaw is Raichu itself. The tail is long and the attack range is wide, but the arms are short. The attack is limited. However, it is also good that Raichu itself has sufficient power. In this way, Raichu is more comprehensive. Raichu, come on. Yu said. Lei Raichu, who threw the first punch, was full of confidence, with a confident smile on his little face. He rushed towards Tapu Koko with Pikachu, intending to give Tapu Koko another hard punch. However, before he rushed to Tapu Koko, a terrifying pink energy wave violently erupted from Tapu Koko, like a landslide. Raichu and Pikachu were defeated by this terrifying energy wave before they got close and fell to the ground. At the same time, on the ground, many pink, blue, and yellow flash energies mixed and hit. The energy of the entire Alola was running wild, the natural magnetic field was chaotic, and the element of nature gathered into a storm. Raichu and Pikachu had no power to resist this energy, like a small boat in a storm. Nature's wrath. Yu's expression changed slightly. Only the 4 guardian gods of the Alola Islands can use this trick. With the power of nature, it exerts extraordinary power. Raichu and Pikachu are doomed. The thought flashed through his mind, and he watched after a burst of nature's wrath. Tapu Koko flew out of the dust, his body shining with electric light, still clean and bright, while Raichu and Pikachu rolled their eyes, their heads were dizzy, and they almost vomited. Finally, he fell to the ground with a snap, weak and powerless. Thank you for your hard work, Tapu Koko. Yu walked towards Tapu Koko and said, in addition, I may have to trouble you again in the next few days. I hope you can teach Raichu to learn electric field and some electric special moves. Tapu Koko nodded. This is no problem. He has the talent and can learn electric field. Then Tapu Koko, I'll trouble you with my Pikachu as well. Xiaoxi looked at Tapu Koko happily and said. Tapu Koko looked at Xiaoxi and Pikachu carefully, but did not agree immediately. Instead, he disappeared without a trace. Xiaoxi's smile froze immediately. Am I so bad? Yu also showed a strange expression. Tapu Koko was the one who liked Xiaoxi the most among the island guardians. Could it be that he has changed? Just when he was thinking about whether to comfort Xiaoxi, although this guy is generous, he will still be hit by being rejected by Pokémon. But before he could say anything, suddenly another flash of lightning flew over, but it was Tapu Koko who came back. At the same time, a Z bracelet and a yellow Z pure crystal appeared. The king of the island, Hala, who had been watching from behind, saw this scene and his expression suddenly became strange. Isn't this the Z bracelet I made? So he sneaked into my house and stole my Z bracelet just now. And now he's giving it to someone in front of me? Tapu chirp. Are you going to give it to me? Zyozzy said. Tapu chirp nodded. Thank you, Tapu chirp. Zyozzy happily put on the Z bracelet and Z pure crystal. Yu twitched the corner of his mouth on the side. I'm so stupid. I knew it was Zyozzy, but I still wanted to comfort him. This guy's a heartbreaking guy, unless he meets someone named Makan Mingheo. There will be another update before 12 o'clock. Chapter 139 Absol. I'm the mage. Okay, it's useless to just get this. You have to complete the island tour before you can control this thing properly. Yu said sourly. Although it was not difficult for him to get the Z move, it was a lot of work. Unlike Zyozzy, he took the initiative to deliver it to the door. Yes, there is also the island tour. Zyozzy got excited. Then now, let's go to find the king of the islands. This is not necessary, because the king of the islands is already here. Yu walked to the side of Hera and said, Mr. Hera, hello, I want to go on the island tour. Me too. Zyozzy said. If you want to participate in the island tour, you must first take the big test. Only those who pass the big test can go on the island tour. Hera said solemnly. Our situation is special, can't be an exception. Yu glanced at the Tapu next to him and chirped. We are the messengers of your boss's boss. Hera looked at Tapu. His dark face hesitated slightly, but soon said, no, before the island tour, there must be a big test. This is the tradition of Alola for countless years. Even if you are recognized by the guardian of the island, it is not allowed. Well, any big test, I can accept it. Zyozzy said straightforwardly. Yu, who still wanted to bargain, heard Zyozzy's words and glanced helplessly. It was better not to be with you. Okay. Hera looked at Zyozzy with satisfaction, and then said, through the battle just now, I have a little understanding of your strength, but if you want to go on the island tour, you have to pass a test. In the Lush Cave, there is a group of powerful mongoose inspectors. If you want to go on the island tour, you must defeat them first. Mongoose inspector? Yuyu's expression was subtle, and he took out a General Z pure crystal from his pocket and said, are you talking about the mongoose inspector who guards this Z pure crystal? You have already beaten it? Hera said in surprise. Of course, I have defeated all the dominant Pokémon that are easy to find on Melamal Island, as well as the dark Z crystal guarded by a Lolaratata. Yuyu said, collecting Z crystals. Then go back and rest, adjust the status of your Pokémon, and fight with me tomorrow. Hera said. That's fine. Then why not do it now? I have the strongest fighting spirit. In addition to Raichu, I have many powerful Pokémon. Yuyu said. Okay then. Hera looked at Tapu next to him, and finally relaxed within the range of his heart, and then his expression turned serious. Now, under the witness of the island guardian Rikapu, I, the king of the island, Hera, and this challenger Yu from Kanto, are going to challenge each other to the pilgrimage of the islands. Both sides can use 2 Pokémon, and the king of the island will send out his Pokémon first. As he spoke, Hera took a step back, distanced himself from Yu, and then took out a Pokéball and said, my first Pokémon, Victory Crab, come out. A red light flashed, and a purple crab with 2 large blue claws appeared on the field, waving its 2 claws, with a look of fighting spirit in its eyes. So powerful, another Pokémon I haven't seen before. A crab, is it of water attribute? Zyozzy, who walked to the side as a spectator, looked at the Victory Crab that appeared and exclaimed like a curious baby. No, although Victory Crab lives in water, it is a fighting attribute. Lilia said. Fighting type, then you should send out the ghost type Haunter. Zyozzy speculated. That should be the case. Ghost types are immune to fighting types special moves, and Yu is also very clear about how ghost types deal with fighting types. Lily said. But it's too easy for Yu to do this. Will he cooperate? Zyozzy said. Zyozzy and Lily thought about it, and then said almost at the same time, no. Almost immediately, Yuyu's voice rang out. Come out, Absol. Absol. Zyozzy glanced at Zyozzy on the side. Sure enough, they became friends for a reason. Absol. Boy, didn't you use the wrong Pokémon? Hala looked at Yu with a strange expression. Didn't this boy know about the evil attribute yet? No, the attribute doesn't determine everything. Yu said. So you know it. Then let me see if you have the strength to match your tone and your ability to convince Lunala. Hala's eyes were focused. Winner Crab, use the enhanced punch. The faint golden light on the huge claws of the Winner Crab shone, and it attacked Absol preemptively. Absol, flash of lightning, dodge, Yu said. Absol's speed immediately increased to the highest level, turning into a white light, dodging from the side of the victorious crab, and going around behind the victorious crab. Victorious crab, use the bubble beam back. Hara's order sounded immediately. The victorious crab, which originally had no time to turn around, waved its claws, and sprayed strong bubbles. Absol, destroy the death beam, Yu said without hesitation. Although the victorious crab is a fighting type, as a crab that has always lived in water, it is normal for it to have a water type trick, and it is not surprising at all. Hara's reaction was also within Yu's expectations, and long range is exactly what Absol is best at. The orange light in Absol's mouth gathered, and then a beam of light full of destructive breath burst out from Absol's mouth, directly penetrating the victorious crab's bubble beam, violently hitting the victorious crab, knocking the victorious crab into the sky, and slamming it to the ground. Absol, the final impact, Yu said. Absol roared and rushed towards the fallen crab violently, giving crab the final blow. The ground broke, and crab fell to the ground with foam at the mouth. Your Absol can actually use the destruction ray, and can you still move? After using the destruction ray, Hara looked at Yu strangely. Absol is famous for its powerful close range attacks and physical strength. You practice the destruction ray? Moreover, after using the destruction ray, you can act immediately. Every Pokémon is a unique individual, not limited by data. This is what Grandpa Oak told me, and I have always insisted on it, Yu said. As for the destruction ray, because it is too powerful, after using it, some Pokémon will need to recover because of too much energy consumption, and some Pokémon will have a short period of stiffness because of its too strong power. So there will be a disadvantage of being unable to move for a period of time after using the destruction ray. But again, there is no rule that cannot be broken. The Dragonite of Dew, that guy used the destruction ray just like the basic attack skill, and it never stopped. Although Absol couldn't do this, after Mewtwo's gravity training, his physical strength has improved sufficiently. After using the destruction ray, he can't use some powerful tricks for a short time, but he can evade a hit. This is the result of training. Sure enough, you are worthy of being a trainer recognized by Lunala. A Pokémon was defeated, but Hala was not disappointed, but more excited. Then, I, the king of the island, will also use the more powerful Pokémon, Super King. Hala took back the victory crab, and released a Pokémon with a huge body and a pair of big iron paws. Super King? Yu looked at Super King's big belly and Hala's slightly fat belly. Although he knew that the two had nothing to do with each other, the Super King of any trainer was like this, just like a sumo wrestler, but looking at it like this, he still wanted to say that Professor Oak's theory was right, and Pokémon and trainers would become more and more alike, and the last one should use Z moves, so it's finally time to try flying Z moves. Chapter 140 Absol, I can still fly. Super Power King, clap and surprise attack. Hala took the initiative, and Super Power King's thick iron palm shone with orange light, and slapped Absol at an unimaginable speed, and Absol was about to be hit. See-through. Yu's voice suddenly sounded. Absol's eyes turned green, and his body speed suddenly increased. He burst out with amazing agility, and dodged Super Power King's thick palm. He actually dodged it? Hala looked at Yu in surprise. The clap and surprise attack can only be used when Pokémon just appear, but the effect is surprisingly good. It can burst out with amazing speed, making most Pokémon fall into a state of fear after being hit. So it is also called a show of strength. Generally speaking, after Hala uses this, he will use the slap and strike to cause a 2-hit combo. But now, it was broken at the beginning. It's really different. Absol, evil wave, Yu said. Absol opened his mouth wide, and a purple-black energy ball condensed in his mouth, bursting and shooting towards Super Power King. Super Power King, block it. Super Power King calmly waved his hands. His thick palms were like two huge shields blocking in front of him, and Absol's evil wave was easily received by Super Power King. Superpower King, also known as Iron Palm Warrior, because it has powerful palms. Strong, hard and thick, most of the special moves can't pass its defensive palms. Next, push hard. Hala shouted. Superpower King stepped on the ground with his big feet, and his two thick arms shone brightly, pushing Absol violently. Absol, flash of lightning, run around. Yu said. Superpower King's power is so strong that it can knock down a 10-ton truck. This is why Yu didn't let Absol resist the surprise attack of the palm, because he couldn't bear it. Absol's feet were full of wind, and he quickly ran around Superpower King, even leaving a blurry after image around him. Yu's expression was slightly bright. Is this a sign of a shadow clone? Speaking of which, the Pokémon he has are all weird. For example, Raichu, who is so good at using his tail, can't learn Iron Tail. And Absol, who can learn Shadow Clone very early, but for some reason never learned it. Now there are finally signs. Super King, don't let it go. Block it completely, said Hala. Super King roared, and his shield-like palm wrapped around, successfully hitting Absol. With 2 consecutive hits, Absol was knocked away, and fell heavily to the ground, covered in wounds. Absol, Yu worriedly said, the power of this Super King is stronger than imagined. That's it, prepare for your next Pokémon. Hala's expression was solemn. Super King, belly drum. Super King immediately slapped his belly violently with both hands, making a sound like beating a drum, and his body strength increased rapidly. Belly drum, sacrifice half of the physical strength, and increase the strength to the peak. Okay, the final push, said Hala. Superpower King stamped his feet on the ground, orange light wrapped his palms, and rushed towards Absol. Seeing this, Yu frowned. Is he going to save the Z move for my second Pokémon? What a pity. Absol, fight with all your strength. Yu's eyes were sharp, and a light and ethereal power emanated from the Z bracelet on his hand, and gathered on Absol. Both the man and the pet shone with a light blue glow at the same time, with an inexplicable sacred meaning. Extreme Dive Yu shouted, and the light flying power gathered on Absol. Superpower King's huge iron palm like a shield slapped, but before it fell, Absol, who received this powerful power, suddenly jumped up, and flew into the sky with the blessing of this power. What? Flying? Hara's eyes suddenly widened. Flying Z is not for flying Pokémon, but for an Absol. It really flew. Boom! Yu's voice rang out, and Absol, which had rushed up into the sky, made a beautiful turn in the sky, dived down from the sky at a high speed, and violently hit the body of Superpower King. Superpower King was hit hard, and his fat body was knocked nearly 100 meters away in one breath, and fell heavily to the ground, revealing a pair of big circular eyes, completely losing his ability to fight. And Absol seemed to like this feeling very much, happily flying back and forth in the sky, and after a while, it fell from the sky. I won. Yu looked at Hala and smiled. But Hala didn't care about this, but looked at Absol in disbelief. It flew. Of course, Absol can air slash, which is also a flying type trick, plus the flying type Z crystal. Of course it can fly. Yu said. He had done many experiments to make Absol fly so well. Absol can also fly. The power of Z moves is so powerful. Zyos, he also exclaimed in amazement. Yeah, that's the first time I know about it too. It's not even in the books. Lily exclaimed. Huh. Alala has found the flying Z crystal for so many years, and no one has done this before. Yu looked at Hala curiously after hearing Lily's words. Wouldn't it be enough to have a Pokémon with a flying move, but can't fly, and a flying Z crystal? Why didn't anyone know about it? No, because if you want to use the high speed dive and fierce collision, you must first know Z moves, and to obtain Z moves, you must be recognized. There are not many people like this. Moreover, in the past 100 years, no island king of our Alala Island has been a flying type trainer, and no one knows who the dominant Pokémon is. Therefore, the flying type Z crystal is the responsibility of Tapu-Fini of Pony Island, and very few people can get it. Finally, generally speaking, those who can get Z crystal from Tapu-Fini have flying type Pokémon, and since they all have flying type, of course they give flying type Z crystal to flying type Pokémon, so that the power is the greatest. Who would think of looking for evil type Pokémon to fly? Harold looked at Yu strangely. This young man really broke many of his long-standing ideas. A close-range fighter uses a destroying death ray, likes long-range attacks, and can fly. Unexpected battles make battles full of variables and exciting. Yu said. If all battles were so common sense, then many battles would be unnecessary and could be simulated with data. But it is because of the unpredictability that it is interesting. That's true, young man. Maybe I understand why Lunala chose you to be its messenger. This is your gift for the pilgrimage through the islands. Hara took out a piece of fighting type Z pure crystal and handed it to Yu. Thank you, Mr. Hara, Yu said. It should be. I haven't seen such an interesting challenger like you for many years. The last one was Kiku. I look forward to your performance in the future. Hara said. I will. I think it's right for Dr. Kiku to form an alliance in Alala. I will come here when the alliance is formed. By then, I want to become the first champion of Alala. Yu said. Look forward to it. Hara laughed. Chapter 141. Butler Mewtwo. Raichu, Lightning Flash, speed up and catch up with Eevee. Eevee, use Lightning Flash with faster power. If you are caught by Raichu, you will lose your afternoon dessert. Absol, speed up and try to create a clone. Piresta, use Big Bang and prepare the power of Sunflame. Squirtle, practice dodging. Dragonite, lift the barbell with your tail 100 times. Haunter, get used to Shadow Sneak and increase the power. In Lilia's villa, Yu's voice of command continued. All the Pokémon were training in the villa. Raichu and Eevee turned into two rays of light and chased each other in the flowers, chasing each other, burning themselves for dessert, and never giving in. Absol ran around, and gradually two Absols appeared. Piresta Big Bang flew into the sky, and various energy attacks burst to the extreme. Squirtle dodged in various traps and was hit from time to time, but soon gritted his teeth and continued to persevere. Dragonite's tail kept lifting the barbell, and there was a faint white metallic light shining at the end. Finally, Haunter turned into a black shadow, emitting a terrifying ghost energy wave, sweeping around, and the whole ground was bumpy and full of traces of destruction. James, the butler in charge of the manor's environmental maintenance, looked at this scene and sighed. What bad luck. Since Master Yu came here, the land at home has never been good. Fortunately, Master Yu often goes out, otherwise he would not have enough time to recover after training at home every day. Yu. At this time, Catch's voice suddenly sounded. Yu turned around and saw Lily, Xiaoxu, Xiaozi, and Catchy standing together. Did you make an appointment to go to the Royal Dome in the afternoon to participate in the Royal Battle? Are you coming now? Yu asked in confusion. But Xiaozi will participate in the island tour this morning, so we came to take a look. And Mr. Hala's house is not far from the Royal Dome, so we can go there after the battle. Catchy said. That's true, but I didn't expect you to be so close. Yu said, even though they had only known each other for a few days. Because we are all friends. Catchy and his group laughed. Well, let's go together. Dragonite, follow me. Yu said as he looked at the Dragonite in training, and then looked at Mewtwo who was sitting aside, drinking coffee and reading a book. Mewtwo, I have something to go out for. Please watch them for a while. Let them train well. Don't be lazy. Mewtwo didn't answer, and continued to read the book slowly. Okay, let's go. Yu turned and went out. Mewtwo didn't answer, which meant he agreed. A group of people walked towards Mr. Hala's residence together. When Yu's Pokémon saw Yu leave, they all reacted subtly. Absol and Flame Horse trained faithfully. Ghastly was brave after shame, and worked hard to become stronger. But Eevee stopped panting, turned over, and showed Raichu with his belly sticking out, with an expression that said, if you chase me again, I will die for you to see. Raichu scratched his head with his tail, not knowing whether he should let him go. Stottle, with his eyes rolling, was about to sneak out of the machine. But before it could move, a pair of eyes suddenly looked over. A pressure as if it was real came over. Stottle looked at Mewtwo who was reading a book and shuddered. Brother, I was wrong. I'm going back. Stottle hurried back to concentrate on training, but the pressure on his body did not weaken, but continued to increase. Gravity. Stottle, who had endured this trick, reacted immediately. Then, not long after the little Eevee lay down, a dark energy ball suddenly fell from the sky and hit it violently, creating a huge deep pit, with earth and rocks exploding and dust flying. Eevee was in the center of the explosion, in a mess, and covered in dust, and pitifully acted cute towards Mewtwo. But the only answer it had was a simple word from Mewtwo. Practice. It used Shadow Ball, which was ineffective against ordinary Pokémon. Because the level difference between the two sides was a bit large, there was some damage, but under Mewtwo's control, it was very small. It was a punishment, but not too harsh. Eevee stood up pitifully, and continued to run according to Yu's plan. Mewtwo was still reading slowly, as if he had done nothing. Haunter, who was practicing Shadow Attack, felt this scene, and showed a mocking expression. 1 or 2, they don't practice well, and want to be lazy. Didn't you hear what I said? Do you really think that Mewtwo and Zion have a bad relationship? Naive. Moreover, didn't you see that there is a camera here? A bunch of stupid children, so cute, even stupider than when I was a child. I don't know at all that Yu is a very bad guy. Not to mention the backyard. Yu and his party went to the residence of the Island King Hera to witness the battle between Sasaki and Hera. Young man, you passed the test of the Mongoose Inspector and obtained the General Z Pure Crystal. It's very good. The rule is still 2-2. Let me see your strength. Hera looked at Sasaki and said, I will do my best. Sasaki said, okay, Victory Crab, I'll leave it to you. Hera released Victory Crab again. Snorlax, I'm counting on you too. Sasaki threw the Pokeball, and a fat Pokémon that was even heavier than Superpower appeared on the field. Snorlax. Yu, who was watching, was stunned. Oh, right, he almost forgot that Sasaki's Snorlax was captured in the Orange Islands. Now that Sasaki is halfway through his journey, it's normal for Snorlax to join the team. Why is it Snorlax? Kachi, Mamane, Suran, and Mao were shocked. A general type fighting a fighting type? This is not respectful to the king of the island. Attributes are not too important. Lilia looked at Yu next to her and said, yesterday someone also used Absol, which is restrained by the fighting attribute, to defeat 2-in-1. Not important? Kachi and the other 4 found it difficult to accept. For them, the influence of attributes in a game accounts for at least half. For Pokémon Battle Masters, attributes have only about 30% influence on victory or defeat. And Sasaki is a rare one who doesn't play by the rules, so it's more troublesome. Yu said. When he saw Snorlax, there was actually not much suspense in this game. Sasaki's Snorlax is really strong. A fat man who can eat several mountains of pomelo and swim in the sea in a fancy way, using the butterfly stroke that Yu can't even do, that's all. Later, when fighting against the pioneer leader Huang Weixiang in the battle arena of the Battle Frontier, he defeated the fighting attribute Shaoli Wang and Cherim in a row with 1-on-2. And in the battle, he actually supported himself with one arm, and stood upside down. How did you, a fat man weighing 1,000 pounds, do it? Chapter 142 Royal Masked Man. Snorlax, this is our all-out attack. Ultimate invincible big impact. A shout of all-out strength pierced the sky. Snorlax's squinting eyes that had never changed for thousands of years turned into round pupils. The terrifying power condensed in his body, like a mountain, rushing towards Hera's Superpower King with unmatched terrifying power. Superpower King only had time to push out his palms, but this could not resist Snorlax's impact at all. Almost instantly, he was knocked back 100 meters by Snorlax's powerful impact, and then fell heavily, smashing a huge human-shaped pit, and the whole ground trembled a few times. Hera, the king of the island, couldn't help but twitch his mouth. He was defeated by the challenger with a trick, restrained by the fighting attribute during 2 consecutive island tours. Am I old? Or are the trainers in Kanto all monsters? One by one, they have reverse attributes. Is it over? Sasaki looked at his victory and couldn't believe that he did it. It took him a while to react and rushed to Snorlax happily. Snorlax, we won. We won. This is the power of Z moves. We have mastered Z moves. Snorlax picked up Sasaki with one hand, carried him on his shoulders, and posed for victory. Although being captured was an exception, he also liked Sasaki. Every time he ate and slept, someone would take him away. Unlike before, when he woke up, there were bare places all around him that he had eaten, and he had to swim to find a place. Really won. Kachi was stunned, thinking about Snorlax's combat performance, and couldn't help but be amazed. A general type Pokémon actually took on Superpower Z moves head on, the full strength Fierce Punch. Although he used a defensive move, the defense would also be broken. After being broken, he resisted a few punches. How did he withstand it? Don't be surprised, this is Zios's Snorlax, and this is not his strongest Pokémon. Yu said. Isn't this the strongest Pokémon? Kachi was even more surprised. If this wasn't the strongest, how strong was Zios? Should we say he is worthy of being Yu's friend? Wait, Yu's friend? Yu, who is better, you or Zios? Kachi asked Yu. Well, if I use the strongest main force, I can probably beat 3 of him now. Yu pondered and answered after thinking seriously. 3. Kachi stuttered. So, what you just said for a long time is that your defeated opponent is very strong, and you are stronger. This is the trainer outside of Alola, the champion and top 8 of the Quartz Conference. Kachi, who has always only aimed to become the king of the island, has a different goal for the first time. He wants to become a stronger Pokémon master. Otherwise, it's too heartbreaking. Okay, stop laughing foolishly, let's go. It's time to go to the Royal Dome. Yu shouted to Zios. Oh. Zios stopped laughing, took out the Pokeball, and said to Snorlax, "Thank you, Snorlax. I'll treat you to a big dinner tonight." Snorlax showed a silly and happy smile, and was then taken into the Pokeball. Can you afford to treat Snorlax to a big dinner? Looking at the Snorlax that was taken in, Yu said to Zios. My mother just sent me living expenses, and Professor Oak told me yesterday that he wanted to study Snorlax and asked me to send it to the research institute. Zios said. Send it to the research institute? Yu looked at Zios with a curious look on his face. I didn't expect that you, a guy, would play this trick. But it doesn't matter. Grandpa Oak is rich. There are already several Snorlax living in the research institute, and there are also your 30 Kintero. A group of people set out together and came to the most famous arena in Alola, the Royal Dome. When they came, there were already many spectators sitting in the audience seats. It was crowded with people. Looking around, there were heads. It's so lively. Ziaksha said sincerely. Of course, the royal battle is a traditional battle ritual in Alola since ancient times. Legend has it that it comes from the battle between the 4 island guardians. The 4 of them compete to determine the strongest island guardian. It's the same here. The 4 players send out their Pokémon to fight. The one who can still stand on the field at the end is the strongest trainer. As for how to find allies and how to fight in the battle, it depends on the ability of the trainer and the Pokémon themselves. Yu said. Then we will go up there and challenge the strongest trainer in Alola. Zios said excitedly. That's right, the strongest trainer. 15 consecutive victories in the arena. Yu said. The previous record holder had 14 consecutive victories. That is, the Royal Masked Man Kiku broke the record, and if I remember correctly, Kiku had at least 20 consecutive victories. Zios's eyes lit up when he heard this. Yu shook his head and didn't pour cold water on Zios. He first asked Lily and the others who didn't participate in the battle to sit in the audience seats, and then he, Zios, and Kachi went to the players' seats to wait. After a long time, several beams of light suddenly lit up, and the host in a formal dress said, "Welcome to the audience. The contestants participating in the competition today include our contestant Yu from Kanto and his friends, and the strongest royal masked man in our royal dome." As the voice fell, several beams of light fell from the ceiling of the royal dome and landed on Yu and others. Then it shot in another direction, and a masked man with a naked upper body also jumped out at this time, jumped to the outer extension of the ring, and posed in a standard sports posture. "Okay, next, please welcome the hottest flame in Alola," the host said passionately. The light moved again, and under the attention of the crowd, a 2-meter tall bipedal Pokémon with a strong physique and strong muscles walked out. It was covered with red and black stripes, and the tiger head was majestic without anger, giving people a strong sense of oppression. What was particularly noticeable was that the flame belt around the waist was always spraying flames. The hottest flame in Alola, what kind of Pokémon is this? Zios was confused again. Scorching Tiger, with both fire and evil attributes, is the final evolution of Litten, and its status and strength are similar to your Charizard. Yu explained. It's very strong, right? Zyozzy said. Yes, it's very strong. Yu nodded. Kyuka's main force, although it is relatively weaker, because there are relatively few masters in Alola, the battle atmosphere is not strong, and it has experienced fewer battles, but it is also a king level. Then you saw your strength. Zyozzy shouted. Yu smiled and said, how is your physical strength recovery? Can you use the second Z move? Z moves consume a lot of energy for people and Pokémon, so they can only be used once in a game, but they can't be used immediately in the second game after the game ends. It still depends on the trainer's own recovery. No problem. Zyozzy patted his chest with confidence. It took some time to get to the Royal Dome, and he rested in the player area for half a day. There was no problem long ago. That's great. Yu nodded, walked towards the ring, looked at the Royal Masked Man and said, let me see the strength of the strongest trainer in Alola. Hey, boy, don't worry about winning or losing. Let's enjoy the battle. The Royal Masked Man shook his muscles again, and struck a slightly funny promotional pose. Seeing this, Yu couldn't help but raise his eyebrows. Sure enough, after putting on the mask and no one recognized him, a lot of shame and other things would be thrown away. If you are seen by students in the Pokémon school like this, I wonder how you can still be a teacher? Thousands of words of complaints didn't know where to start, and in the end they only became one sentence. Then come on, Dragonite, fight with all your strength. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 143, The Powerful Blazing Roaring Tiger. Now all 4 players have sent out their main Pokémon. The Royal Masked Man sent out his most trusted partner, Alala's hottest flame, the Blazing Roaring Tiger. The first time players Yu, Zyozzy, and Kachi sent out Dragonite and 2 Charizards, 3 Pokémon respectively. Who will win this game? The commentator introduced the players' Pokémon to everyone. Yu looked at Zyozzy and Kachi's Charizard with a strange expression. Although it was a bit expected, it's still embarrassing when it really happened. You two make me feel very out of place. Obviously we came together to challenge, but 2 of them were Charizards, and I was the only one with Dragonite. How embarrassing. It's the same. Let's fight first. Zyozzy smiled heartlessly and said, Charizard, use Flame Whirlpool. Zyozzy's Charizard opened its mouth wide and burst out a strong vortex of flames to sweep towards the blazing roaring tiger. Charizard, eject flames. Kachi also quickly gave the order. Kachi's Charizard suddenly spewed out a column of blazing flames, merging with Zyozzy's Charizard's flame vortex to attack the snarling tiger. Dragonite, Tornado. Yu also asked Dragonite to cooperate. Dragonite roared, and rich green dragon energy burst out, turning into a storm that merged with the flame vortex and the ejected flames. A terrifying firestorm that almost reached the ceiling swept towards the snarling tiger, and even many sparks flew outside the ring. The temperature of the entire arena suddenly rose by 10 degrees. The snarling tiger is indeed the ace main force, with a great reputation. As soon as it came on the field, it was targeted by 3 trainers at the same time. The Pokémon of the 3 trainers all launched a fierce mixed attack on the Royal Mask's snarling tiger. Is there any way for the snarling tiger to stop it? The commentator explained passionately that such a battle is the most interesting. Sure enough, faced with such a vicious battle, the Royal Masked Man's eyes showed a flame of interest and said, Fire Roaring Tiger, go all out, DD Golden Hook Arm. With a loud shout, the 2 thick arm muscles of the Fire Roaring Tiger arched and spun rapidly. The whole Pokémon spun rapidly like a black whirlwind and rushed head on into the firestorm. Small storm against big storm. But it bullied the big with its small size and broke up the firestorm with force, flew out quickly, and spun to attack 2 Charizards and Dragonite at the same time. The 3 Pokémon were attacked and forced to retreat, with painful expressions on their faces. As expected of the Royal Masked Man's ace Pokémon, Fire Roaring Tiger fully demonstrated to everyone what is the hottest flame in a lava. Even when facing the attack of 3 Pokémon at the same time, it can still defeat them quickly with ease. It is as strong as ever, the commentator explained. The audience around cheered in surprise. Dragonite, use Dragon Dance. You gave the order. DD Golden Hook Arm is a powerful move, but after breaking through the firestorm, its power is greatly weakened, and it is not very harmful to Dragonite. Dragonite immediately flew up and jumped, with green dragon energy surging, and its aura suddenly became sharp. Fire Roaring Tiger, let's do it too, bodybuilding, said the Royal Masked Man. Fire Roaring Tiger roared, posed a strong posture, dark red light shone, and the body became stronger. Charizard, use Megaton Punch. Zyossi actively launched the attack command. Zyossi Charizard's fist shone white light, and rushed towards Fire Roaring Tiger fiercely. Fire Roaring Tiger, Hell Stab, shouted the Royal Masked Man. Fire Roaring Tiger's claws shone dark red light, and it swung upwards violently, hitting Charizard's chin, and knocking Charizard aside. Charizard made an uncomfortable hoarse sound. Hell Stab has a side effect, which hurts the throat, and makes it unable to make any sound for a short time. Charizard, are you okay? Zyossi said to Charizard. Charizard spit out a ball of flames, indicating that it was fine. It didn't know any sound moves, and the additional effect of Hell Stab was equivalent to nothing for it. Dragonite, Wing Attack. You use voice sounded, and he seized the opportunity when the Blazing Roaring Tiger just finished using its special move to attack. Dragonite turned into a white light, its wings vibrated violently, and it rushed towards the Blazing Roaring Tiger with the energy of the flying system. Blazing Roaring Tiger, Hell Stab. The Royal Masked Man continued. Generally, the Blazing Roaring Tiger just finished an attack, and it might be hit, because the old power had been exhausted, and the new power had not yet been generated, and the body was stiff. But his Blazing Roaring Tiger was not ordinary at all. The Blazing Roaring Tiger roared, and the dark red light on the tiger's claws flashed. It suddenly attacked, grabbed Dragonite's body, and threw it hard, throwing Dragonite heavily to the ground. If they were fighting outdoors, Dragonite was fast and difficult to deal with, but fighting in the ring would be much easier. The ring was only so big, and Dragonite's speed could not be increased. For Blazing Roaring Tiger, it was completely within the acceptable range. Raw catchy Charizard seized the opportunity, and spewed out a large ball of flames, covering Blazing Roaring Tiger, hitting it completely and dealing damage. Good timing. The Royal Masked Man looked at Catchy with approval, and then said, but the power is far from enough. Blazing Roaring Tiger, use all your strength. Flash Flame Charge. Blazing Roaring Tiger's eyes were fierce, and the flame belt burst out with flames that were stronger than Catchy Charizard's, covering his whole body. The scorching heat even burned the ring under his feet into a piece of black charcoal. Then, Blazing Roaring Tiger roared, carrying the flame power of Catchy Charizard, and rushed towards Catchy Charizard violently. The whole ring had a tendency to melt under the blazing flames. Catchy Charizard was hit head on by Blazing Roaring Tiger, flew out directly, fell outside the ring, smashed a deep pit, and completely lost its combat ability. The terrifying power of the red flame roaring tiger was beyond expectations, but immediately, countless spectators cheered and shouted for it. The audience and the entire auditorium cheered for the powerful power of the blazing roaring tiger. Zyossi and Corey were surprised. Charizard is also a fire-type Pokémon, and the fire-type moves should not have much damage to it. Unexpectedly, it was defeated with one blow. Dragonite, now is the time. Merge our strengths. Full strength Musou Fierce Punch. At this time, Yu suddenly shouted and gestured the posture of Z moves. Light brown fighting energy surrounded himself and Dragonite. Dragonite's physique became stronger, and his fists hit hard. Countless fist shadows flew out, and the fist shadows completely covered the entire battlefield. Flash Charge was the move that Yu had always intended to let Flamahorse learn, so he was very familiar with the situation of this move. It was powerful, but because it was too powerful, it would suffer a short backlash. Now was also the best time to attack. Fire Roaring Tiger, block it. The Royal Masked Man hurriedly said. The blazing roaring tiger had no time to dodge, and hurriedly used his strong arms to protect his head. Countless fist shadows exploded in the ring, which had been bearing the flaming charge of the blazing roaring tiger, could not bear the weight and collapsed directly, erupting with a large cloud of smoke and dust, making it impossible to see the situation inside. Chapter 144 Kyuka's Invitation. The smoke and dust gradually dissipated. A black shadow appeared in front of Yu and the others. Blazing roaring tiger. Although it was covered in wounds and dust, and looked very embarrassed, it still stood firmly, and its eyes were sharper than before, even with a bit of ferocity. The audience was silent for a while, and then cheered again, erupting with shouts like a mountain torrent and tsunami. Yu frowned slightly. Although he knew that Kyuka's blazing roaring tiger was very strong, it was still unexpected to see it with his own eyes. It endured the reaction force of the flash charge, and then endured the Z move, when it was almost defenseless, and it still stood like this. How did Zyos' Scorch Meowth manage to die together during the Manalo tournament? Could it be that it consumed too much energy in the previous fight against Melmetal? It's really amazing. The Royal Masked Man looked at Yu and said, seizing the opportunity, and knowing the right measure is really amazing. If your Dragonite is stronger, my blazing roaring tiger can't take it. But it took it in the end, so it seems useless. Yu said. But I still have to admire what I should admire. You used a Z move, so I should return the favor. The Royal Masked Man waved his fists, and the mysterious power connected between him and the blazing roaring tiger, forming a powerful energy cycle, and a majestic momentum continued to form. Burn up. Blazing roaring tiger, use the fire of victory to burn the venue to ashes. Extreme leap smash. With a low roar, the blazing roaring tiger suddenly jumped and pounced on Charizard and Dragonite like a hungry tiger. Charizard, let them see our full strength. Ultimate invincible big collision. Zyos swung his fist fiercely, and the normal Z energy merged with Charizard, and Charizard charged head on without fear. Dragonite, go. Zyos chose to fight head on, and Yu chose to escape without hesitation. If they fought head on, they might not be the opponent, not to mention that they were now facing the exclusive Z move of Blazing Roaring Tiger. If they fought head on, they would definitely die. There is only one Z move, so run away first. You can't escape, said the Royal Masked Man. The blazing roaring tiger attacked from top to bottom with a terrifying aura and suddenly grabbed the Dragonite who wanted to escape and then rushed towards Charizard. Boom, a deafening roar came and the battle arena was completely reduced to ruins and a cloud of dust was raised again, blocking the view. It was not until a long time later that the dust completely dissipated, revealing a black shadow again. And Dragonite and Charizard both fell to the ground, unable to fight again. It is the blazing roaring tiger who stands here. Yes, he is worthy of being the hottest flame in our Alala, and the Royal Masked Man is worthy of being the strongest trainer in our Royal Dome. Now he has achieved an unprecedented record of 16 consecutive victories. Who else can stop him? The commentator announced the final result of the game and mobilized the emotions of the audience. The audience was also in high spirits. It was rare to see such a thing that destroyed the competition arena. Dragonite, you have worked hard. Yu took back the Dragonite and looked at the Royal Masked Man and the blazing roaring tiger. It was really strong as expected. Young man, your Dragonite is really good, and you are also very powerful, but it is still not enough to defeat me. Go back and train your Dragonite. I will wait for you to challenge me here at the Royal Dome. The Royal Masked Man looked at Yu and said, okay, next time I come, I will use a stronger Pokémon to end your winning streak. Yu looked at the Royal Masked Man and said firmly, then you have to hurry up, don't be too late, wait until I'm old and can't fight anymore, then come back. The Royal Masked Man said, it won't take long, at most 3 years, I will definitely come, but during this time, you must not be defeated by others, only I can end your winning streak. Yu said. 3 years later, he was 14. But he was confident that he could definitely defeat the Royal Masked Man. I'm looking forward to it. The Royal Masked Man smiled. In addition, Dr. Kiku from the Pokémon school told me that he intends to go to Akira Island for a 3-day outdoor teaching. If you are free, you can go together. The Island Queen of Akira Island is also very powerful. Drive Kyuka's invitation? Okay, that's right. I also want to see the scenery of Akira Island. Yu said, stay there for a month, and then go to the last Ulala Island, to find the Island King Merton to complete the island tour. That's the best. It should make you very happy there. After the royal masked man finished speaking, he patted the blazing roaring tiger's shoulder, and the man and the elf turned around and left together. Happy? An unexpected surprise? Yu Yu showed an interested expression, full of novelty about Akira Island. Then, pick up the Pokeball, and walk towards the Pokémon Center. Generally, for small battles, Zyaraxu can be used to treat it, but after such a fierce battle just now, if it is not sent to the Pokémon Center, it is likely to leave some hidden dangers for Dragonite. The Royal Masked Man is really strong. That evil leap smash is really powerful. Zyaraxu sat outside waiting for Charizard to heal, and couldn't help but think back to the battle just now. Exclusive Z moves are different from ordinary Z moves. They are indeed very strong. Yu Yu said. Yeah, it feels stronger than the King Kona I have seen. Zyaraxu said. Sister Kona? Have you seen her? Yu Yu asked curiously. I saw her when I was in the Orange Islands. I even challenged her. Zyaraxu said. She was abused and cried. Yu Yu said. No, and don't you want me to be a little bit? Zyaraxu complained. Sister Kona's strength, not to mention in the Orange Islands, is ranked first in the world. If you fight her, what else can you do but lose? But you are wrong. If we talk about strength, Sister Kona is stronger than the Royal Masked Man. Yu Yu said. But I don't think King Kona has such a strong trick. Zyaraxu said. That's probably because Kona-san thought that she didn't need a strong special move to beat you, while the Royal Masked Man thought that using a Z move would be the fastest way to deal with you. Yu Yu said. Zyaraxu opened his mouth to refute, but couldn't think of any reason to refute, so he closed his mouth in the end. However, I didn't expect the Royal Masked Man to be so powerful that Charizard was injured. I don't know when it can be cured. During this period, we have to use the toucan to deliver milk. Kachi said. Deliver milk? Zyaraxu asked curiously. Kachi's family runs a ranch. During school, Kachi rides Charizard to deliver milk to various regions to help his family. Yu Yu explained. Then we can help Kachi together. Zyaraxu said. That's not good. Kachi said. It's not good to trouble others with his own family's affairs. It's okay, we are all friends, and the spirit of Alola is sharing. Anyway, I have time, and as for Zyaraxu, this kind of helpfulness, when he travels, I estimate that he will do 7 or 8 of these things every month. Yu Yu said. Thank you. Kachi thought about it, and Charizard's injury seemed a little insufficient, so he accepted Yu Yu and Zyaraxu's kindness. Answer the question from book friend G King's book coins. Is this book a single female protagonist? To be honest, I don't know. Generally speaking, when a monk writes a book, he will first determine the female protagonist, and then determine the main line, and naturally add the female protagonist to the main line. But for Pokémon, the female protagonist I want to write has been written by Kona in the previous book, and I won't write it again in this book. So a single female protagonist, multiple female protagonists, or no female protagonist will not affect my main line, and I don't know what it will be like in the end. This is also the reason why I didn't make character cards for Lily, Serona, and Zyaraxu at Kidian at first, because I didn't know whether they would be female supporting roles or female protagonists. But it doesn't matter. Anyway, in Pokémon, the proportion of female protagonists is not important. Even if there is a female protagonist, her proportion in the book is probably not as high as Giratina and Zyaraxu. Chapter 145, Team Rocket returns. Helping Kachi deliver milk was a joint decision of Yu Yu and Zyaraxu. For them, they would not be stingy if they could help their friends within their ability. But the reality proved that they overestimated themselves. Although one of them got the power of Giratina, he was still pampered in essence, and although the other traveled and adventured every day, he would occasionally burst out amazing power, but it was not lasting. So the combined result was that after returning, Yu Yu and Zyaraxu were exhausted and panting, lying on the grass. It's so tiring, it's hard to imagine how Kachi does this every day, Zyaraxu said, while lying on the ground. He knew that Kachi went to school on Melamal Island, so he subconsciously thought that Kachi's family must also be on Melamal Island. As a result, Kachi's family turned out to be on Akila Island. The delivery was to the entire Alola. and Kachi actually rode Charizard across an island to go to school every day. It's okay once you get used to it, and this also happens to exercise my strength, so I have the rock-like muscles now. Kachi said, carrying things is tiring, but after moving more, you get used to it. Yu smiled and didn't join the discussion. He lay on the grass, smelling the fresh grass scent, feeling relaxed and happy. After coming to Alala, he said he was on vacation, but he was training every day. It was rare that he gave Haunter and the others to Muto for training today, so he just had a good vacation. He will start intensive training tomorrow. He closed his eyes and listened to the wind around him. Yu felt a little sleepy, but suddenly heard Pikachu's urgent cry for help. Yu was stunned. He came to Alala. Who else could catch Pikachu? He looked up in surprise and looked at the sky. A Beowulf hot air balloon came into view. He couldn't help but be stunned. Sure enough, Misty and Serena were not Zyos's true love. Zyos's true love was only Team Rocket. Who is it? Kachi stood up angrily. Is it the people from Team Skull who are making trouble again? Yu's expression was pulled. Don't ask. As expected, the familiar since you asked sincerely, then I will. This is it. Meow. Team Rocket that travels through the galaxy? What is Team Rocket? Kachi frowned. It was not Team Skull, the largest underground organization in Kanto before, but now it has collapsed. Yu explained. Although some of the top leaders did not die, they rebuilt an organization on the ruins of Team Rocket, but it is no longer Team Rocket. They are the bad guys. Kachi said bluntly. Yes, you can understand it that way. But these three are a little special. Yu looked at the Meow Meow hot air balloon in the sky and said, hey, cousin, are you there? Yes. What's the matter? Kajiro poked his head out of the hot air balloon and answered loudly. I want to ask you, how did you get here? Why did you come to Alala instead of developing your new organization in Kanto? Yu said. In the original trajectory, they came to Alala because Sasaki needed information about Alala and asked them to come. But what about now? Sasaki's ashes have been scattered. Oh, that's because. Kajiro was about to explain, but Musashi slapped him on the head roughly and said, stupid, we are evil villains. How can we answer whatever others ask? We are here to receive all the Pokémon. Yes, that's right. All the Pokémon here belong to our rocket team. This will be the first step for our rocket team to dominate the world. Meow. Meow Meow pressed the button, and the Meow Meow hot air balloon suddenly cast a large net, which literally caught a large group of milk cans and mud donkeys on the ranch, caught them, and rose to the sky. A group of Pokémon struggled hard, but to no avail. Kachi's parents and sister came out and looked at the Pokémon that was suddenly captured, and their faces changed drastically. Kachi was even more angry and said, no matter who you are not allowed to touch my Pokémon. TSK. What's yours and mine? Yours is mine, and mine is still mine. Musashi said domineeringly. Let's go. Let's catch Pikachu and a group of Pokémon. The peak of our rocket team is about to begin. Meow. Meow Meow excitedly drove the hot air balloon away. Damn it. Charizard, chase. Corey was furious and immediately sent Charizard out. Charizard flapped its wings and chased after the Meowth balloon. Vaz, smoke. Charizard was coming with great momentum, but Kajiro was very calm. After being beaten back so many times by Zyossi, it was hard to say anything else, but he had a big heart. He sent out Vaz to spray out a cloud of smoke to block Charizard's sight. Charizard had just finished delivering the goods and had consumed too much energy. It was suddenly blocked by the smoke and flew around aimlessly. Koi's face was full of anxiety. Charizard was the only Pokémon in his hand that could fly. Tortoise couldn't even run, let alone fly. Moreover, he had consumed a lot of energy now and couldn't use his Z moves. If all these Pokémon were captured, it would be a disaster for his family. Calm down, I'm here. Yu comforted Kachi, then a huge shadow ball condensed in his right hand and threw it into the sky, cutting through the air and instantly landing on the Meowth balloon. With a bang, the Meowth balloon exploded directly, and Team Rocket and all the Pokémon fell completely, screaming in fear. Even Pikachu screamed Pika Pika. But at the moment, when they were all about to fall to the ground, a ghost power emanated, controlling all the people and Pokémon. floating in the air, pausing for a while, and then all fell down. Pikachu. Zyozzy ran over happily and hugged Pikachu. Pikachu naturally jumped onto Zyozzy's shoulder, and then the electric bag on his cheek flashed with electricity, preparing 100,000 volts, and went through a wave of procedures to send these three guys into the sky again. Pikachu, wait a moment, and send it again. Yu walked over and said. Pikachu called cutely and stopped discharging. It had a good impression of Yu, the person who gave it ketchup and lollipops. In its heart, Yu was second only to Zyozzy, Zyuksha, Zyadagang and Hanako. Okay, now tell me, what is yours, and what is mine? A shadow ball condensed in Yu's hand, and then he looked at Musashi with a smile. Come on, tell me again, and show off again. Musashi, who was extremely arrogant before, looked at the shadow ball in Yu's hand, and immediately became timid. Without thinking, he cooperated with Meowth, and lifted Kajiro up on the left and right to block him in front of him. Your cousin, you come to deal with it. Kajiro, who was forced out, cursed the two guys in his heart for being disloyal, but he couldn't help but squeeze out a smile, and greeted Yu. Big brother. Yu's expression was stunned when he heard it, and he almost couldn't control the energy ball in his hand. Although he knew what kind of person his cousin was, he still felt ashamed when he really saw it. With a sudden grab of his palm, the energy ball was scattered. Yu looked at Kajiro and said, okay, how did you three get here? Because we have been chasing Pikachu. As long as we find Pikachu, we can rebuild Team Rocket. Kajiro said. Yu frowned. If we catch Pikachu, we can rebuild Team Rocket? He really couldn't understand this logic, but when he thought about these three guys chasing Pikachu all over the world, he felt that it made sense again. He simply stopped tangling and said, then how did you get here? Although you and Zyozzy are inseparable, you are not always together. Zyozzy left, how did you catch up immediately? And with your current funds, can you buy a flight ticket? Oh, that's because one day we found that the little devil and his friends were going to take a plane, and then we planned to knock out the captain and snatch Pikachu on the plane. Kajiro said his plan proudly. Then why didn't we do it on the plane? Yu said. Because we accidentally went to the wrong place and were locked in the luggage compartment of the plane and couldn't get out. The pride on Kajiro's face turned into embarrassment. Yu was full of black lines on his head. Should I say, you three are worthy of it? Then what happened? Then, we finally got down after a long time, and we were still confused about where this place was. Later we found out that this was a lava, and then we worked for a few days, earned some money, and made another hot air balloon, and then we happened to find Pikachu here, so we came to catch it. Kajiro said. Chapter 146 Island Queen Lizzie. Then, are you going to fly? Yu said. With the fighting power of the three of you, you will be killed if you meet Zyozzy with Charizard. There are always exceptions to everything. Maybe someday, we will succeed. Kajiro said. Those who steal other people's Pokémon are not good people. You should be arrested by Miss Junsha. Kachi came over angrily. If Yu hadn't been there, his family would have lost a lot this time. He should be arrested. Call the police. Yu said. Kachi nodded and went to call the police seriously. Call the police. You won't play it for real. Kajiro panicked when he heard that he was going to be arrested. Really? Yu said with a gloomy face. Although he didn't succeed, the nature of the matter was really bad. No, brother, we are brothers. Blood is thicker than water. Seeing that Yu didn't look like he was acting at all, Kajiro panicked even more and hugged Yu's thigh. Damn it. Yu kicked Kajiro without thinking. In addition, I will confiscate all of your Vapormax, Venusaur, Liptongue, and Arbok. Not taken? Why? Kajiro jumped up anxiously when he heard this and even stopped hugging his thighs. What a joke. They are going to confiscate his Pokémon. Yes, why? Musashi also said angrily. Because yours is mine, and mine is still mine. Yu looked at Musashi and said Musashi's classic saying. You can't be so bad. This is something that only bad guys like us can do. Meow. Meow meowed. My principle is to deal with bad guys and be worse than the bad guys. So the three of you should do this, especially you. Yu pointed at Kajiro and said, "You like Pokémon, and you don't want it to be hurt, and then you go to rob other people's Pokémon. You have the nerve to do this. Like Pokémon? Let me show you how it feels to be a person whose Pokémon you robbed. How does it feel to be a person whose Pokémon I robbed?" Kajiro was stunned by Yu's words. After a while, Miss Junsha from Akira Island drove over in a police car and took them all away. He didn't wake up yet. I hope they can be locked up for a longer time, so I don't see them again tomorrow. Zyozzy looked at the captured Kajiro and the other two and said, "They were captured by Miss Junsha, so they must be locked up for a while. How can we see them again tomorrow?" Kachi said. Zyozzy showed a helpless expression. Can he say that these three guys have been arrested by the police station several times along the way, but they came out quickly every time? "Don't worry, you won't see them tomorrow, because I will find someone to keep an eye on them all the time," Yu said. "We didn't meet each other normally. Because of the feelings we have always had, and the feelings for animation, we didn't think much of Kajiro and the others. But now, we really met." Kajiro and the other two took action, and wanted to take away the Pokémon that Catch's family depended on for survival. I couldn't help it. These three guys need to be educated. Especially Kajiro. You can run away from marriage if you want to run away from marriage, and it's your freedom to pursue freedom, but why do you join the villain organization? Being a bounty hunter is more promising than being a member of Team Rocket. Anyway, the danger level is about the same, and there is no salary. No, being a bounty hunter, at least there is a bounty. Put yourself in jail, and reflect on yourself. If you really can't be locked up, I'll find the bear and let you know what it feels like to have your bones crushed. In the evening, the Kachi family solemnly thanked Yu for helping them get back the Pokémon. After a sumptuous meal, Yu and Zyozzy went back. The next few days were calm. If there was anything wrong, it was Zyozzy who was particularly jumpy and did a 626 again. He was beaten up by Yu, and then he calmed down again. Until this day, the day of outdoor teaching on Irako Island arrived. Yu, Zyaksu, Lilia, and Zyozzy walked to the dock together and met up with Dr. Kuki and the students of the Pokémon school. "Are we leaving now?" Yu looked at Dr. Kuki and said. "No, we have to wait for one more person." Dr. Kuki said. "Waiting for someone?" Yu looked puzzled. Before he could ask clearly, he saw a small cruise ship coming from afar on the sea. A dark beauty with bronze skin waved to them enthusiastically and said, "Hello, everyone. Sister Lizzie." Kachi said in surprise. "Akira Island, the queen of the island. She is also the one who gave Kachi the Z bracelet and Z pure crystal." Kachi, Dr. Kuki, Lizzie parked the cruise ship at the dock, then jumped off the ship and walked towards Kachi and Dr. Kuki with a bright smile on her face. But halfway through, she didn't know what happened and suddenly fell flat on her face. She fell forward and slid in front of Yu and the others with her face so busy driving the boat, greeting people, and wrestling. Shulan said sincerely, "This is not the point." Yu said, "Isn't the point to help Lizzie up?" "Hello." Lizzie got up. Although she was a little embarrassed, she still had a bright smile on her face. "I'm Lizzie, the island queen of Akira Island, and I'm also your extracurricular teacher for this outdoor practice class." Lily and several other students were delighted when they heard this. The island queen is the most respected person on Alala Island. It is undoubtedly a matter of pride to have such a teacher, and they can also learn a lot. Island queen. "Can we go on a tour of the islands?" Lily and the others were full of joy, but Zyozzy had no such feelings at all. He was full of fighting spirit. "Island tour?" Lizzie looked at the Z bracelet on Zyozzy's hand. "Have you got one? But it's not that easy to pass our Akira Island tour of the islands. Pass my big test first, otherwise you will not be qualified to participate in the tour of the islands." "I will work hard," Zyozzy said passionately. "Then there is you, the very talented trainer that Professor Kuki told me about. Are you also going to challenge my Akira Island tour of the islands?" Lizzie suddenly looked at Yu and said, "Of course, I will accept any test from Miss Lizzie." Yu smiled. "I can see that you are very confident." Lizzie said, "It's okay, but in the end it all depends on the Pokémon to prove it, and I always believe in my Pokémon." Yu said, "Then you must have a good relationship with your Pokémon." Lizzie looked at Evie beside Yu and suddenly smiled and picked up Evie. Unexpectedly, Evie, who had just been born and had always been naughty, seemed very well behaved in Lizzie's arms, as if he had met a relative. Then, Lizzie got along with a group of Pokémon such as Pikachu and Raichu, and a group of Pokémon liked her too much. Are you surprised? Kachi said beside Yu. Some. Yu told the truth. Pokémon generally reject the touch of humans other than trainers, but these Pokémon are almost closer to Lizzie than to their trainers. This is Lizzie's unique ability. I was also shocked when I saw it for the first time. Tortoise immediately approached Lizzie. I've never seen Tortoise like that. Kachi said. The unique talent of the Island King. Or maybe, this is a sign that she is going to take the postgraduate entrance examination. Yu said. The island tour is a ritual with a long history in Alala. It not only tests the trainer's combat ability, but also the trainer's own character. For example, the captain of the Skull team, Guzma, has a bad mentality and character, so he has never completed the island tour. And judging a trainer by his trainer's Pokémon is naturally the best way to judge a trainer. Maybe, but it's time to get on the ship. Kachi said. Well, let's go. Yu nodded. Chapter 147. Dr. Kuki's expectations. Pyro, speed up. Use the most powerful charged flame attack. Make this flame last longer. On Akira Island, a fiery red light flashed past, and the hot air swept across the entire sand. All the wild Pokémon around subconsciously avoided it. Even the flying bird Pokémon in the sky instinctively avoided it when it approached. Pyro made, and a fiery high temperature flame emanated from its body. The whole Pokémon was like a small sun, running with flames, and finally shook it vigorously. The horse's hooves, which were harder than diamonds, stepped down, and the whole ground collapsed, like an earthquake. Yu, who had been watching from the side, saw this scene, and showed a relieved smile on his face. Finally succeeded. Flash Flame Charge. The strongest fire type trick that Pyro can learn is second only to Burning Out. Moreover, Flamma Horse is a standard physical attack flow. Although the power of Burnout is stronger than Flame Rush, it is not necessarily stronger than Flame Rush when used by Flamma Horse. Moreover, after Burnout is used once, the power decreases, which is not as practical as Flame Rush. However, Yu was not happy for too long. Flamma Horse showed a trace of pain on his face, looking a little uncomfortable. 1/3 of the reaction damage, the same damage as Pikachu's Volt attack, can only be slowly adapted to. Yu thought to himself that this move cannot be used casually and can only be used as a Nirvana at a critical moment, but Yu is already very satisfied with such a result. He walked towards Flamma Horse happily, stroked Flamma Horse's head, and expressed his approval. He came to Akira Island this time and brought a total of 2 Pokémon. One is Flamma Horse, because Akira Island has the largest volcano in the Alala region, the Wera Volcano. Every year, the Wera Volcano Festival is held, and the Island King Lizzie will give the Wera crown to the Flame Pokémon who came to enhance the power of the Flame Pokémon. The other one is Eevee, and because it is young, it still needs to rely on him and Xiaoxu, the special breeder, for the time being. The rest are still in Lilia's house, being educated by Mutuo. He started training at 5 in the morning, and has been training for 2 hours now, and he hasn't stopped. He is really diligent. In the distance, Lizzie looked at Yu who was training and said, of course, he is the champion of the Quartz Conference, and he will be preparing to participate in the Champions League in a few months. Dr. Kuki said, participate in the Champions League? Can he do it now? He is still so young, it's impossible. Lizzie was surprised. But I think he can, and he will shine in the Champions League. Dr. Kuki affirmed. You have known him for a short time, right? Are you so sure? I have never seen you look like this before. Lizzie smiled. Because he gives me a different feeling. I have seen many different trainers, but there are very few like him. He is only 11 years old, but every time I talk to him, I feel like I'm facing someone of the same age. And I really hope he can shine and defeat his opponent with Z moves. Dr. Kuki said seriously. Use Z moves. You still want to form an Alala alliance? Lizzie looked at Dr. Kuki. Alala is not a big region, and the top figures of each island have some connections. Moreover, Lizzie is a special lecturer at the Pokémon school and has a good relationship with Dr. Kuki. Naturally, she also knows what Dr. Kuki has always thought. Yes, form our own alliance in Alala. For a long time, we in Alala have not kept pace with other regions, and we haven't even established an alliance. This has completely hindered the development of our Alala trainers. Although I don't want to admit it, whether it is the top or the middle, our Alala trainers are weaker than those in other regions. Dr. Kuki said seriously. So, you want you to use Z moves to let people from all regions know about Alala? Lizzie suddenly realized. That's right, it's time for the world to know about Alala. Dr. Kuki said. Over the years, many students from the Pokémon school have traveled to various regions to bring the culture of Alala out, and many trainers have come to Alala to travel and participate in the island tour. But the influence is still not enough. Kuki wanted to make a name for himself, but just after leaving Alala and arriving in Kanto, he met the then mediocre Do and returned home in defeat. He even gave up the idea of being a trainer for a while. Now, he sees hope in Yu again. No trainer conference is more authoritative than the Champions League. In the trainer world, this is the biggest league challenge, bar none. Once Yu uses Z moves to achieve results in the Champions League, then an 11-year-old trainer, good results, and Z moves will spread all over the world in a very short time. So, you specifically asked me to bring him along and arrange a test for him on the island tour. Do you think this is interfering with the process of the island tour? Lizzie joked. You are the queen of the islands. You are the one who decides everything about the island tour. How can I interfere? If you think Yu is not good enough, then don't let him participate in the island tour. I just think that Yu is a very good person and can participate in the island tour. In addition, Zyozzy is also suitable. Sometimes, I feel that he seems to have grown up in Alala. However, although his strength is good, he is still a long way from Yu. Dr. Kuki said with a smile. Then let's investigate together. But yesterday, when we were playing, they were all very good. And their Pokémon like them very much. A trainer who is liked by Pokémon can't be too bad. Lizzie said. Dr. Kuki smiled and said nothing. He looked at the time and prepared to wake up a group of people to go to the outdoor class. Yu put Flame Horse into the Pokéball and arrived at the gathering point first. He was also looking forward to what the arrangements would be today. The extracurricular activities of the Pokémon school are quite interesting, at least more interesting than the Pokémon school in Kanto. Although you may not learn anything, at least you have fun playing, get close to nature, and enhance your relationship with Pokémon. Today, we are going to learn how to make Akara Island's specialty food, Akara Curry. Dr. Kuki said. Akara Curry? Yu raised his eyebrows slightly. It was recorded in the Akara Island tourism guide that it was Akara Island's specialty food. But Yu couldn't get used to curry. No matter how delicious it was, he still didn't like it. That's right, this time we are going to learn how to make it and find the raw materials for making Akara Curry. Now we will divide into groups and decide what materials to find. Dr. Kuki took out the cards and assigned the tasks. Finally, Yu and Zyaksu were in a group to find resurrection grass and miracle seeds. Chapter 148 Cave Maze. Using miracle seeds to cook. Alala is really a magical place. Yu took the simple map given by Lizzie and looked for resurrection grass and miracle seeds, but couldn't help but want to complain. Resurrection grass is fine. Although it has the effect of restoring the physical strength of Pokémon, it can only be used for emergency treatment in the wild. The actual effect is not as good as Miss Joy's treatment. It is almost equivalent to the first aid medicine tube that costs 120 yuan per tube in the Pokémon Center. But miracle seeds are different. When Pokémon wears it on their bodies, they can enhance the power of grass type special moves. It is a precious prop. As a result, it is used for cooking. I really don't know what to say about. It's beyond imagination. There are more Pokémon here than expected. Humans and Pokémon live in harmony. It is the most beautiful picture. Zyaksu sighed while holding Vulpix. Although she has only been in Alola for a little over a month, she has seen many things here that she can't see in other areas. At a fixed time, the fruit vendors in the market will let the bird Pokémon in the forest come in groups to take the fruit, and no one will drive them away. Because everyone believes that the gifts of nature should be shared. In the ocean, countless marine Pokémon fly freely. Even Pokémon like Haxorus and Milotic that would cause death in other places live freely here. This place is really beautiful, like a fairy tale. So, Mewtwo has been treating me better and better recently. Yu smiled. When he mentioned this, Yu was very happy. Since coming to Alola, the relationship between him and Mewtwo has taken a big step forward. Yes, I can help you train Pokémon recently. In the future, you only need to make a training plan, let Mewtwo help you train, and you will be responsible for the subsequent psychological treatment. Mewtwo is the father and you are the mother, just right. Xiaoxu smiled. Nonsense. Yu glared at him angrily. I'm a man. If I want to be a father, I will be the one. Mewtwo has no gender. It can be male or female, so just be the mother. Besides, why do I need to comfort and treat afterwards? You have been doing all this. So, apart from making plans, you don't even need to comfort. Xiaoxu looked at Yu and said, in this way, you are too relaxed as a trainer. Do you think it's not tiring to make training plans? You need to constantly change the training volume according to the actual training situation of Pokémon, so as not to overload and hurt the Pokémon's body, and to avoid too light a burden, and not reaching the point of exercise. Yu said righteously, but his eyes turned silently. If this is really the case, it seems to be quite easy. Xiaoxu smiled slightly, and did not dwell on this issue anymore. She continued to look for resurrection grass and miracle seeds with the map. For Yu, miracle seeds are more precious than resurrection grass. But for Xiaoxu, resurrection grass is more precious than miracle seeds. Because there are not Pokémon centers everywhere, Xiaoxu often travels in the wild and needs to carry this first aid medicine with her. The ones from the Pokémon center are more expensive for the same effect. However, it is generally not easy to find them in the wild. Xiaoxu's Vulpix, who had been walking on the ground, suddenly made a sound. She sniffed the smell with her little nose and felt something was wrong in front of her. She excitedly jumped to the rock on the side and drilled her little head in the crack of the rock. When she came out, she had some grass in her mouth. Xiaoxu squatted down and took a piece of grass from Vulpix's mouth. After a closer look, she confirmed that it was resurrection grass. She touched Vulpix's head happily. It's resurrection grass. Yes, thank you, Vulpix. After receiving the praise from the trainer, Vulpix showed a happy expression and stretched out her pink little tongue to lick Xiaoxu's white palm. Resurrection grass tastes spicy and is a food that fire Pokémon prefer to eat. So, of course, Vulpix found it quickly. Buai when the little Eevee saw that Sister Vulpix had found something so quickly, he ran happily beside Vulpix with an admiring expression. Sister Vulpix, you are so amazing. Seeing Vulpix's admiring expression, Vulpix touched the little Eevee's head with his tail lovingly. Yu and Xiaoxu's Pokémon all watched Eevee being born, and they have different feelings towards Eevee. They have a really good relationship. I wonder if they can play together after Lily's Alola Vulpix is born. Yu said. Just a few days ago, Lily successfully got her first Pokémon egg. It came from the Great Snow Mountain. After confirmation, it was Alola Vulpix. It has both ice and fairy attributes. Very cute. It should be possible. After all, everyone is so cute. Xiaoxu said. Maybe. Yu smiled, took the resurrection grass, and then went to look for miracle seeds. See if there are too many. If there are too many, save them. Although there are no grass type Pokémon now, there will always be some in the future. In the Hone region, there is a group of wood geckos. Catch one and evolve it into a lizard king. Wouldn't it be great? The two of them talked and laughed, chatting and searching. Following the route on the map, they walked into a cave. This place is dark and humid, not suitable for plant growth. Yu said. It's not suitable, but it's because it can grow in such an environment that it's called a miracle seed. And there might be another world in these caves. Xiaoxu said. That's right. Yu thought about it and said that the map given by Lizzie should not be wrong. He walked in front of Xiaoxu to lead the way. Xiaoxu naturally followed behind Yu. She had not known Yu for a long time, but every time she was with Yu, she felt very safe. After going deeper inside, it didn't take long, but 2 forks appeared. Which way to go? Or one side? Zaiatsu asked. Random side, the left side. Yu simply walked to the left decisively, one side, and gave up without thinking. Generally speaking, if you split up for this kind of exploration, it would be fatal. Although the Pokémon world is not an ancient tomb exploration, it is also dangerous, so it is better to go together. As for whether it is right or wrong, who cares? Anyway, with Yu's current strength, even if he doesn't bring Pokémon with him, he will be fearless, unless he encounters a King level 1. And the probability of encountering such a thing in the wild is really low, and can be ignored. Yu and Zaozu headed for the road on the left. Along the way, they were unexpectedly safe, which made Yu and Zaozu worry in vain. After a while, they saw the light ahead and were overjoyed. They immediately rushed out, but saw another fork in the road. Yu thought about it, turned around, condensed a huge shadow ball in his hand, and then hit the ground hard, making a deep pit. The place attacked by his shadow ball will have his unique energy mark. Only he, Haunter, and Giratina had such energy. You can sense it at any time to avoid getting lost. After all, this kind of underground cave has a complex terrain. If there are forks after forks, it will be the most terrifying maze. You can't even fly out, so you'd better make a mark first. After making the mark, Yu continued to move forward and took another road. But this time, his luck was not very good. Before he had walked for long, a mole suddenly jumped out from the ground, and then one mole after another jumped out, and rocks rolled down. Yu was startled, and hurriedly ran out with Zaiatsu. Then he changed the way, and repeated it several times. Finally, he found a cave and climbed up. Seeing the bright sunshine, Yu climbed out without thinking, as if he had seen a place like a paradise. The surrounding scenery was picturesque, with flowers everywhere, beautiful beyond words, like a fairyland on earth. Miracle seed. Zaiatsu saw a seed, and grabbed it excitedly in her hand, wanting to share it with Yu, but she saw that Yu didn't have any special joy on his face, but a serious face. She asked curiously, "What's wrong?" Yu frowned and looked aside warily. "Who is it?" As soon as the voice fell, the grass over there was turbulent, and a large pink humanoid Pokémon 3 or 4 meters tall suddenly jumped out. The whole body was pink, gorgeous, and delicate, as if wearing a kimono. If it were smaller, it would definitely be very cute, but this size is only dangerous. Chapter 149, 40-meter long sword. Lanthus. Looking at the Pokémon that suddenly appeared, Zaiatsu thought about the introduction of a Lola Pokémon, and said its name. Lanthu, the most gorgeous grass-type Pokémon, is controversial as to whether it is grass or plant, just like Bulbasaur. But the Lanthu in front of him is several times the size of a normal Pokémon. The dominant Pokémon. Grass type, it's Grass Z. Compared to Zaiatsu's surprise, Yu had a fighting spirit in his eyes. He vaguely understood, while Izzy asked him to find the miracle seed. The grass type, the attributes just happened to match. Flame Horse, go ahead. Yu swung the Pokéball, and released Flame Horse, whose flaming mane moved in the wind, exuding a fiery breath. Line Mantis saw the flaming horse released by Yu, and instinctively felt uncomfortable from the flames on the flaming horse. A dangerous light appeared in her red pupils, and her arms were spread out, bathing in the sun. The whole body radiated golden light. Her arms, like huge red sickles, were raised high, absorbing the light from all directions. A huge lightsaber several tens of meters long condensed, emitting strong pressure. Is this the sunlight flame? Zaozu was pale, looking at the huge lightsaber that suddenly emerged from Land Mantis's wrist in disbelief. The information in the Pokémon school said that Land Mantis would use her arms to chop and crush rocks, but it didn't say that it was chopped like this. Can the sunlight flame be used like this? A 40-meter long sword? Yu was also shocked. Unlike Zaozu, he knew what this trick was. Sunlight blade. A transformed version of the sunlight flame, switching from energy attack to physical attack. The power has increased slightly, and the rest is basically the same, and it also needs to be charged. But knowing is knowing, not seeing it with your own eyes is so shocking. A 40-meter long sword condensed in the sky. Yu was in a rare state of shock, and did not give Flamahorse an attack command. Line Mantis also prepared her energy at this time. She swung her arm violently, and a huge blade of light fell from the sky, seemingly able to crush everything. It was so powerful that even ordinary Pokémon dared not move. Flamma Horse, Flame Wheel. At the critical moment, Yu finally came out of shock and gave the command. Flamma Horse roared, and suddenly a blazing flame emanated from its body. In the blink of an eye, it turned into a large fireball. Line Mantis's sunlight blade fell down and hit Flamma Horse. The two energies clashed fiercely. Flamma Horse was in the core of the storm and was forced to slide back for a while before stabilizing its body. "What's up? Are you okay?" Yu looked at Flamma Horse and said. Flamma Horse let out a powerful roar, indicating that there was no problem at all. Although the sunlight blade was powerful, it was also a grass type trick after all, and it did not cause much damage to it. With the offset of the flame wheel, it was completely within the tolerable range. "Okay, let's fight with all our might and charge up the flames," Yu said. The flaming horse's hooves were full of wind, and it sped up suddenly. A blazing flame appeared all over its body, and it turned into a red light and rushed towards Line Mantis. Line Mantis swung its two huge arms, and the rich grass energy surged. Leaves from all directions flew automatically, turning into a storm and rushing towards the flaming horse. But the flaming horse ignored it completely and rushed forward regardless. The flames all over its body burned with high fighting spirit, completely burning the leaves around it. The hard horn hit Line Mantis's body fiercely, almost knocking it down. Line Mantis took a step back, barely standing firm, and then knocked the flaming horse away, but the weakness on its body was also visible to the naked eye. Yu showed joy on his face. The Overlord Pokémon of Alola has a special Alola magnetic field, and is huge in size, but because Alola is too harmonious, the strength of the Overlord Pokémon will not be too outrageous. Pure grass attributes. If it takes a few more fire moves, it should fall down. However, just when Yu was happy, Line Mantis suddenly let out a sharp cry, and then a grey Pokémon that looked like a water drop suddenly floated over. After being exposed to the sun, its grey body suddenly turned red, and the outer part of its head became like the sun. Then, it floated to Line Mantis, emitting a strange light, and the sunlight in the whole sky became hot. Then Line Mantis's whole body began to emit dazzling golden light. After the light faded, the scars left by the flame horse disappeared, and it became more energetic. Floating bubbles. Sunny day. Photosynthesis. Xiaoxu said, and this time they all knew it. Floating bubbles, a general Pokémon, will change its body shape and attributes with the weather. Sunny days are fire attributes. And photosynthesis, as the name suggests, grass-type Pokémon absorb sunlight and restore physical strength. On sunny days, the recovery effect is best. Flame Horse, spray flames. Yu shouted. To speed up, recovery is not complete recovery. The fiery horse opened its mouth wide, spraying out blazing flames, covering Line Mantis. Line Mantis used the sunlight blade again without hesitation, and the golden light on her sickle arm shone. Then she swung it directly, and a 10-meter long lightsaber fell, cutting off the flames in the mouth of the fiery horse, and slashing it on the fiery horse. The fiery horse was in pain and let out an unhappy roar. Be careful, on a sunny day, the sunlight flame can be charged in a very short time, and can be directly released. Xiaoxu reminded. Understood, so we have to deal with the floating bubbles first. Fiery horse, charge up the flame attack. Yu shouted. The first priority of a team battle is to kill the auxiliary first. The fiery horse ran again, turning into a hot fireball and violently slamming into the floating bubbles in the air. The floating bubbles were not afraid at all, and sprayed a strong fireball from their mouths, hitting the fiery horse. Weather ball. As the weather changes, the properties and power change. On a sunny day, the power is comparable to a big word explosion. But Flame Horse was no longer afraid, but a little happy. No matter how powerful it was still a fire attribute. As long as it did not exceed the limit, it was a piece of cake for it, which had the characteristic of igniting fire. The weather bowl came over and rushed into Flame Horse's flames, just like a bowl of water poured into a bucket of water. It had no effect, except to enhance the power of the bucket of water. Flame Horse's long horn collided with Floating Bubble, and Floating Bubble made a miserable cry, but it did not fall down. Line Mantis stepped forward and stood in front of Floating Bubble to block Flame Horse's collision. Its body immediately turned black. But it did not take long before it absorbed the strong and fierce light again and recovered its physical strength. Yu Yu's pupils shrank slightly and Floating Bubble fully assisted so that the weather could remain sunny. Under the sunny sky, attack, sunlight blade, recovery, photosynthesis quickly restored physical strength. As long as it was not killed by a single blow, Line Mantis could be said to be invincible. Now that the other Pokémon were not around, Eevee's combat power was temporarily low. If I didn't leave the field, there was only one way. Flame Horse, accumulate strength, flash flame charge. Yu Yu said. Since you want to protect the auxiliary, then I'll get rid of you first. The Flame Horse let out a long cry, and a terrifying blazing flame burst out of its body. The terrifying high temperature burned, and under the sunny sky, the power increased sharply. On a sunny day, in addition to allowing the sunlight blade to be instantly released and increasing the photosynthesis effect, the simplest thing is to increase the power of the fire type tricks. Line Mantis, who was constantly recovering her strength, also realized that something was wrong and hurriedly burst out the sunlight blade again, and a huge lightsaber was ready to chop down. At this moment, the Flame Horse suddenly moved, with a hot torrent, turning into lightning and rushing towards Line Mantis. Flash Flame Charge, also known as Explosive Flame Electric Shock. The exploding magma, as fast as lightning. Passing by, Line Mantis fell straight down with a bang. Chapter 150 Sunlight Armor Project. Line Mantis fell heavily, and then vomited a green grass type Z pure crystal. Yu Yu did not pick it up immediately, but first fed the resurrection grass into Line Mantis' mouth. Line Mantis ate the resurrection grass, and immediately became much more energetic. Then, she slowly stood up, and then spontaneously used the sun flame to absorb a lot of sunlight, and the scars on her body healed at a speed visible to the naked eye. How? Are you okay? Yu Yu smiled and looked at Line Mantis. Line Mantis immediately showed a gentle smile, rubbing her head against Yu Yu. What's going on? Xiaoxu looked at this scene strangely. Although Yu Yu cured it, wasn't it Yu Yu who injured Line Mantis? Why did she suddenly thank him so much? Because Land Mantis is originally gentle, and grass type people are generally gentle. Yu Yu said. Then why did you fight at the beginning? Xiaoxu was even more confused. Because it is part of the test. Yu Yu looked at the sky, the only place that was shining in this paradise. When he was halfway through the fight, he felt that there was someone nearby. Smart, you are worthy of being the person that Dr. Kuki has high hopes for. Lizzie jumped down from above, then opened her arms and hugged Line Mantis Flower and Floating Bubble. Line Mantis Flower and Floating Bubble also happily kissed Lizzie, as if they had met their relatives. Miss Lizzie? Xiaoxu finally reacted. So, it was all arranged by Miss Lizzie. Yes, this is a test I gave Yu Yu as the queen of the island. Now that Yu Yu has passed the test, you can go on a pilgrimage to the islands and the Akara region. Lizzie said. She followed Yu Yu and Xiaoxu all the way, and their performance was satisfactory. Thank you, Miss Lizzie. If it is convenient, I can go on a pilgrimage to the islands at any time. Yu Yu said. Okay, I'll go back and prepare, and then arrange a battle. Lizzie said to Yu Yu, then looked at Line Mantis Flower and Floating Bubble and said, thank you for your hard work. I'll play with you next time we meet. Line Mantis Flower and Floating Bubble showed a reluctant expression, but still let go of Lizzie obediently. Miss Lizzie, why don't you take Line Mantis Flower and Floating Bubble back with you and share the food together? Yu Yu suggested. Line Mantis and Floating Bubble looked at Yu Yu with shining eyes. A good person. Unlike some trainers, they beat them, and then they were done, not to mention treating them. But the Akara curry we made today is not suitable for them to eat. Lizzie said. No problem, with Xiaoxu, the #1 beauty gourmet of Pokémon food, we can definitely make food they like. Yu Yu said proudly. Line Mantis and Floating Bubble were even happier after hearing this, dancing with joy. No problem, but don't have any other ideas. The dominant Pokémon cannot be captured. Lizzie stared at Yu Yu, mistakenly thinking that Yu Yu wanted to capture it. I know this, and I don't want to capture it either, but I want Flamahorse to learn the Sunlight Blade just now. Yu Yu said solemnly. The power of the sunlight blade is stronger than the sunlight flame, and it is more condensed. And it can be chopped out like a knife, and the hit rate will be relatively higher. Maybe it can even become a group attack trick. After all, in addition to splitting Huashin, it can also sweep thousands of troops. Of course, the most important thing is this. So cool. A 40-meter long sword. When seeing this trick, Yu Yu's martial arts dream was suddenly awakened. Such a cool trick, even if it is not practical at all. Yu Yu will also try to let Flamahorse learn it, so that he can show off when bullying others. What's more, it is really practical, much more practical than Sunflame. If used well, Flamahorse's strength can be slightly increased by about 0.5%. Moreover, since Sunflame can be transformed into an energy lightsaber by special methods, and condensed in the hand, can it also be perfectly condensed on the body, and turned into a sun armor, instead of having to bear the damage like Flamahorse did before when fighting Swampert. Learn Sunblade? How is that possible? Sunblade is the exclusive trick of Orchid, and no other Pokémon has learned it. Lizzie smiled and shook her head, and Yu Yu was whimsical. Once, everyone thought that speed was the exclusive trick of Windy Dog. Yu Yu said. If he remembered correctly, in the game, in the 7th generation, Sunlight Blade was the exclusive move of Orchid, but in the 8th generation, Flamahorse could learn it through the move learning machine. Of course, there is no move learning machine in reality. However, it is also in this way that there are infinite possibilities, and even Pokémon can learn moves that cannot be learned in the game. Therefore, Yu Yu decided that during the next period of time in Alola, he would follow Orchid and let Flamahorse learn Sunlight Blade. If he really couldn't learn it, he would capture up Pseudo Mantis and train it from scratch. Anyway, he didn't have a grass type Pokémon. Maybe there will be a different miracle. Lizzie smiled and didn't hit Yu Yu, although she thought it was impossible. But, it is because of so many unrealistic ideas that humans in Pokémon can develop to the present point. Fantasy and recklessness are the patents of young people. What's more, Yu Yu is only 11 years old. As long as it does not harm the world, any other ideas are worthy of praise, even if she thinks it is impossible. Yu Yu saw that Lizzie didn't believe him, but he didn't refute it. In this kind of thing, facts speak louder than words. Before the result comes out, no matter how much he says, it's useless, and he really doesn't have 100% confidence. Back to the Pokémon Center, where they are temporarily living. Zhi is very envious when he hears that Yu Yu can take the test of the island tour, and he wants to participate. However, when Akarakuri is ready, Zhi's mouth can do nothing but eat. Walking to the kitchen, seeing Ziozu busying around, he walked over and said, "Thank you for your hard work. I suddenly wanted to let Flamahorse learn the Sunlight Blade, so I have to have a good relationship with Land Mantis. It's okay, I'm your breeder, and it's my duty to make Pokémon food. Besides, this portion is not made for Land Mantis." Ziozu turned around and chuckled, picked up a plate, and gave it to Yu Yu, saying, "This is for you, people who don't eat curry. The food here is simple, and I can't make anything too complicated. Make some salad, and make do with it." "But, in fact, I don't like salad either," Yu Yu said. "Yes, you only like to eat meat, but eating too much meat is not good. You should have a balanced diet. You usually eat too little vegetables." Xiaoxu looked at Yu Yu seriously, with a sly look in her eyes. "Of course, if you want to eat curry, that's fine. Anyway, you only have two choices now. Are you asking me to choose the lesser of two evils?" Yu Yu smiled gently, "But when I make a choice, I never make a choice. I want curry, and I want salad too. Both." Xiaoxu looked at Yu Yu strangely. "I'll eat the salad, and Akira curry for Giratina. It should like this top-notch delicacy." It was also very happy when it ate Alola pancakes last time, Yu Yu said. As he spoke, Yu Yu walked to the sink full of water, then picked up his portion of Akira curry and put it into the water. The water surface changed, and a different dimensional passage to the reversed world appeared. In the reversed world, the Alola curry fell straight down. Then, a huge monster flew out and swallowed it in one gulp. The huge tongue licked his mouth, revealing an expression of enjoyment. Comfortable, the food that Xiaoyu found was getting more and more delicious. Sure enough, finding the messenger was the right thing to do. All dangers to humans should be solved by humans. There was also delicious food, free to eat. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.